A maid delivers a letter from Lord Reze to Lady Amelia. Amelia remembers their past promise to build up the Lenia domain together. However, Reze writes that he is too busy studying at school to come back home for the summer. She reflects on how their relationship gradually began to change. Amelia gazes pensively as she holds the letter from her fiancé. Reze enrolled in the Royal Magic Academy in the capital. Cord wonders if studying there is really that intense. Amelia notes that she will enroll next year and needs to prepare. Cord asks if he really failed to send her a dress despite their engagement. Amelia wonders aloud if sending a gift dress is standard practice. The Grand Royal Capital Magic Academy dormitory stands prominently in the background. Cord explains that custom requires a fiancé to send an entrance dress well in advance. Amelia realizes he skipped that completely. She excuses his neglect, noting he never even visited home during breaks. Amelia gently rationalizes that Reze was simply too overwhelmed to remember. Cord dismisses that idea as absurd, explaining that school life is not that busy. Amelia reflects on how she quickly became friends with Cord, a count's daughter from another agricultural domain. Her companion insists no someone would forget something so critical. The two girls stroll together down the quiet grand hallway of the academy dormitory. Cherishing their bond, Amelia listens as Cord advises her to arrange a meeting through the dormitory supervisor. She urges her to speak with her fiancé directly. Cord encourages Amelia to do her best on tomorrow's placement exam before saying goodbye. Amelia agrees, gazing outside at the clear weather. She reflects on how her family domain is likely busy planting crops right now. Amelia wonders if the weather is as pleasant back home. Her thoughts wander back to events 6 months prior. Amelia looks wistfully out the high window at the distant city skyline. Bright memories of the countryside flood her mind. A vast sunlit field stretches across the rural landscape. Lush crops sway under the open sky. Local workers express their gratitude to Amelia for helping in the fields. She humbly downplays her effort, saying anyone can water plants. They insist her magic is an immense help, as even noble daughters in this domain regularly assist with farm work. As a local farmer complains about the endless rain, she laments that her water magic isn't particularly useful. Reze reassures her, assuring her that simply being able to speak with her gives him great encouragement. The two stand together near the fields under the gloomy rain. She acknowledges how Reze's earth magic and her water magic will combine to guarantee another bountiful harvest. Still, she wishes her own prayers alone could bring such success. He directs her attention to the land, which fundamentally depends on earth magic to thrive. Crops cultivated with earth magic grow at an astonishing rate and yield superior quality. Historically, the rulers of House Lenia were renowned for their earth magic. A romantic silhouette depicts the fateful union in her lineage. That legacy changed when her great-grandfather married a viscount's daughter with water magic, causing only water mages to be born since. After their eventual divorce, Amelia views it as a tragic end to a romance. Her ancestor was deeply mourned, leaving generations desperate to restore earth magic to their house. To fulfill that desire, 5-year-old Amelia was engaged to 6-year-old Reze, an earth magic user from the Sarma family, and so their joint future was set in motion. The engagement was a political match fueled by financial exchanges between the wealthy, heirless House Lenia and the struggling Sarma family. Despite the cold political nature of their engagement, Amelia thought their bond was actually quite pleasant. Reze greets her warmly in the mansion hallway. He eagerly invites her out to check the fields, interrupting her quiet magic studies. He encourages her to step away from books and engage directly with the villagers. She looks up at him thoughtfully as they prepare to head outside. The two walk together toward the bustling village area. As villagers happily greet Reze, Amelia reflects on how her limited magic feels unhelpful to the domain. She mentions how much she treasures these rare moments with the people since she cannot visit often. She notices that Reze used to include her in conversations, but rationalizes that it is for the best since he will inherit the land. She considers how her father would disapprove of stopping work merely to socialize. Reze discusses agricultural progress with a local farmer. The farmer thanks Reze for his earth magic, while Reze asks Amelia to keep detailed records for him while he is away at school. She agrees, keeping in mind that magic is a privilege reserved for nobility. As nobles, it is their duty to study magic for 3 years at the Royal Magic Academy starting at age 16, and Amelia softly encourages him to do his best. They share a quiet moment together under the trees. He promises to return in summer while she expresses interest in seeing the crop growth. Despite his marquee family roots, he cares for the harvest, and she agrees to wait. Summer arrives, but Reze never returns as he promised. Amelia stands solemnly, reflecting on the situation. An elderly woman asks about Reze's letter, and Amelia explains he remains busy with studies. Amelia sent a reply encouraging his focus, but no response ever came back. She sends crop data to stay connected, but autumn passes in complete silence until winter. Reze finally writes a brief apology for being busy, leaving her anxious about their future. Amelia resolves to focus on her preparations, but a maternal figure interrupts her. A close-up shows the loving bond between Amelia and her mother figure. Her mother urges her to stay kind and honest at school, promising her actions will return to her. She reassures her that life offers more than hardship and prays for her happiness, leaving Amelia thoughtful. Amelia arrives at the royal capital. She told Reze her arrival date, but he failed to meet her. She consoles herself knowing they attend the same school and will meet soon. She repeatedly tries to reassure herself despite her growing doubt. Remembering Erica's advice, she decides to see Reze and verify everything directly. Amelia reflects on the unlisted welcome party and dress requirements at her noble academy. Realizing social events are frequent, she assumes Reze must be extremely busy. Cord bluntly refutes her idea, stating that school life is not that busy. Amelia realizes Reze may have neglected his duties as her fiancé. She feels hurt that he never even mentioned the welcome party to her. With no alternative, she prepares to wear the old dress she has on hand. The dress was sent by her mother a few years ago. Though outdated, she must wear her mother's older dress due to lack of time. While wondering why her fiancé has not told her anything, she suddenly catches students behind her whispering that she looks more plain than expected. A student looks on as she approaches the boys' dormitory. She requests a meeting with Reze Sarma at the dormitory while bystanders react with surprise, reminding herself that Cord is the only person she knows at school. With little time left before the party, she stresses that a fiancé is expected to escort his partner. She wonders how the onlookers already know who she is. No matter how busy Reze might be, she believes he should not refuse her request. She asks to inform him that his fiancée, Amelia Lenia, wishes to discuss the upcoming welcome party escort. When asked about her business, she stresses that the matter is urgent and requires a quick reply. On the day before the welcome party, Amelia is shocked to receive a message from Reze refusing to meet. To make matters worse, he has not mentioned the party to her at all. She finds his behavior undeniably strange. Having a fiancé who barely contacts her makes her suspect there is a deeper reason behind his actions. Upperclassmen whisper continuously while staring in her direction. She refuses to believe he is so occupied that he cannot spare even a moment. She comes to a grim conclusion about his true motives. Amelia stands solemnly, reflecting on her fiancé's distance. Amelia realizes that Reze is intentionally avoiding her. His absence from home and lack of letters were never due to being busy. It is painful to accept that he simply did not want to see her, but it is the only reasonable conclusion. Amelia questions why Reze suddenly changed his heart when he had promised to return in the summer. He had claimed he wanted to inspect the crops during his visit. If he is going to such lengths to avoid her, she feels she no longer wants to see him either. During their last meeting, he had smiled at her just as he always did. Although theirs was a political match, they had both been striving to build a good relationship. Amelia turns her thoughts to her father's position in this arrangement. Her father is desperate to secure earth magic for their family line, making her wonder if Reze's house received a better engagement offer. She considers the substantial money her father provided to Marquis Sarma, and whether another match could justify returning it. She finds it insulting that they might maintain her engagement while seeking a superior prospect. However, she acknowledges that the Sarmas belong to a higher-ranking Marquis house. She realizes that if Marquis Sarma accepts a new proposal, he could easily request to break off their current match. She realizes her father will not give up easily and might try offering money. She wonders about the letter sent behind her back without considering her feelings. Recalling how her father probed about her fiancé, she suspects he already knew the rumors. Though she insists it is just speculation, she knows she must speak with Reze directly. An exterior view of the majestic academy building stands under the bright sky. With all students attending the party, Amelia sighs that Reze still has not replied. Amelia checks her appearance in the mirror before heading to the gathering. On the day of the welcome party, she puts on her finest dress matching Reze's colors. Amelia walks down a grand vaulted corridor lined with towering stone arches. Students gather inside the bustling, brightly lit hall near the entrance. She marvels at the enormous scale worthy of the prestigious Royal Magic Academy. Looking around the hall, Amelia notices how gorgeous all the other attendees look. Other young noble ladies chat together in vibrant, elegant ball gowns. Amelia lowers her gaze, feeling self-conscious about her plain outfit. She wishes Reze had warned her in advance so she could have prepared a proper gown. She tells herself not to blame him entirely, steeling her resolve as the party begins. Amelia pauses anxiously near the doorway of the bustling ballroom floor. Guests mingle gracefully across the polished floor under the ornate chandeliers. Nearby students laugh and chat merrily among themselves. Uncertain, Amelia wonders whether she should keep waiting for Reze to arrive. Realizing time has run out, she dreads walking inside entirely on her own. Seeing every other guest enter alongside a partner makes her feel even more uneasy. Fearing the crowd will draw unwanted scrutiny, she is suddenly addressed by a voice. She continues hesitating, intimidated by the overwhelming pressure of entering alone. Amelia stands alone at the edge of the hallway leading into the grand hall. She stands quietly near the grand entrance, looking down in deep thought. She wonders to herself why she is standing out there all alone. Other guests happily walk together into the venue while she remains behind. She regrets getting her hopes up that Reze might show up today. If she had known this would happen, she would have gone inside immediately. She sighs as she looks toward the doorway. Suddenly, a young man's voice calls out to grab her attention. Amelia glances back in surprise to see who spoke to her. The young man points out that the party is starting and asks if she is going inside. Amelia turns around in shock upon hearing the unexpected stranger's voice. The handsome young man looks down at her calmly as they lock eyes. Sarge asks Amelia why she is not going inside as the party is about to start. Amelia looks back at him in complete surprise. She flinches as Sarge suddenly approaches her. Stammering in confusion, Amelia wonders who this mysterious handsome noble could be. Amelia explains that she was waiting outside hoping to spot her unreachable fiancé. She can instantly tell from his aura that Sarge belongs to high nobility. Amelia thinks to herself how stunningly handsome Sarge looks. Sarge gently points out that the party is starting and suggests searching for her fiancé inside. Noticing Sarge's golden hair and emerald eyes, Amelia realizes his true status. Sarge offers his hand and asks to escort her inside. Amelia gazes at him in wide-eyed wonder. Amelia reacts with surprise when Sarge insists that a lady should never enter alone. Sarge notes he has no fiancé and promises her fiancé will not mind him escorting her. Amelia is stunned by his bold confidence. Panic sets in as Amelia wonders what she should do next. She realizes Reze will never show up since they never set a meeting. She admits to herself that she does not even know how to navigate the venue. Finally, she decides to accept Sarge's help. Amelia politely accepts Sarge's offer to accompany her. Amelia feels how smooth Sarge's hand is compared to her rough farm hands. She marvels at his graceful stride as they walk together into the hall. She hesitates, feeling she cannot simply ask his name directly. As they step into the grand hall, the entire crowd turns and gasps in awe. She realizes her escort must be someone famous that everyone in the academy instantly recognizes. She glances up at him as they walk past the surrounding students together. Recalling that royalty study here, she marvels at his stunning looks and assumes he must be a prince before forcing herself to focus. She remembers her mother warning her that nobles from everywhere attend, so she must never act disgracefully. Panicking inside, she cries out mentally for her mother's guidance. Trying to regain control, she urges herself to calm down and think clearly. Amelia mentally goes through the roster of royal students enrolled at the academy. She narrows down the possibilities between the third prince, Julius, and the second-year fourth prince, Sarge. She ponders the royal family lineage in her mind. She imagines the high-status princes attending the academy. She visualizes Prince Julius standing tall. The young man turns to her with a smile and introduces himself as Sarge. Amelia breathes a sigh of relief, realizing her deduction was spot on. Shocked that he really is a prince, Amelia wonders what to do next. Everything about his regal bearing now makes perfect sense. Sarge then asks if she sees her fiancé anywhere. Amelia groans inwardly as she feels the heavy gazes of everyone in the hall. She knows it is only natural for people to stare when she is walking with royalty. She consoles herself that she at least entered the hall without trouble, despite drawing far more attention. She then answers Sarge that she unfortunately does not see her fiancé. Amelia looks out over the bustling crowd in the venue. Amelia thanks Prince Sarge, planning to search for her fiancé on her own. She hopes to slip into the background like a wallflower so people stop staring once she steps away. Prince Sarge simply acknowledges her words. Amelia gasps in surprise as Sarge takes her hand and invites her to dance. He insists that since he escorted her inside, he cannot leave her without a proper dance. Prince Sarge leads Amelia onto the crowded ballroom floor as they begin to dance. Amelia wonders in confusion how her evening managed to turn out like this. Musicians continue playing their instruments for the dancers. Onlookers watch the pair attentively from the edge of the ballroom. The prince smiles gently down at her as they glide across the floor. She looks up at him in wide-eyed awe and wonder. He continues leading her through the dance with graceful, practiced steps. Amelia marvels at Sarge's impressive skills, realizing she has never danced so effortlessly before. The two continue to spin together under the lights of the hall. She reflects on how much she loves dancing. However, she had always refrained to match Reze, who preferred to just watch. Because of that, she spent her past events sitting on the sidelines. Yet now, everything feels entirely different for her on this ballroom floor. Right in this moment, she is finally free to enjoy herself. Overjoyed, Amelia realizes she can finally dance her heart out across the floor. As the music ends, Sarge asks for her name, causing her to freeze in surprise. She stares at him, caught off guard by his sudden question. He apologizes for his bluntness, so she formally introduces herself as Amelia of House Lenia. Sarge recognizes the name immediately. He notes that Lenia is famous for producing the best grain in the kingdom. That makes her family's domain quite renowned. Amelia glances up, pleasantly surprised by his knowledge. She hesitates briefly before replying to him. Sarge asks if she would mind sharing more details about her home territory. Amelia nods shyly, agreeing to speak with him. She gladly offers to tell him whatever he wishes to know. They stand together in the hall as guests watch from afar. Amelia wonders internally why a royal prince would care about a remote territory like hers, while Sarge pauses. He expresses that he would love to speak longer with her. However, duties require him to return to the royal castle soon. Because of this, Sarge apologizes as he prepares to take his leave. Amelia assures him it is fine, striving to act proper as the count's daughter. She thanks him for escorting her onto the floor. Sarge politely responds that it was no trouble at all. She adds that she had a lovely time during their dance. After Sarge leaves, Amelia worries whether she acted appropriately and hopes she was not disrespectful. Sarge then politely bids farewell to her. He encourages her to enjoy her evening and hopes to meet again at the academy. With a final courtesy, he departs across the grand hall. Amelia stands alone on the ballroom floor as observers watch. Musicians continue playing in the background. The surrounding guests whisper among themselves about the interaction. Amelia whispers quietly in dismay to herself. She reflects nervously on her engagement while realizing what just transpired. She trails off as Erica suddenly rushes over to ask what just happened. Erica excitedly demands to know what is going on between her and the prince. Amelia calls out Erica's name in surprise. Erica listens closely and nods as the situation is explained. Erica warns her that even if by chance she is in big trouble now. Amelia asks her why she says that. Amelia asks what she means by that. Erica points out that Prince Sarge rarely interacts with anyone, yet he was dancing and smiling happily with her. Erica adds that he has no fiancé yet, making this even more significant. Amelia wonders if he truly enjoyed himself. She admits she had fun too, making Erica question if he really felt that way. Erica highlights that he seemed genuinely happy talking to her after the dance. Amelia explains he simply asked her about her domain. Erica gasps in shock, remembering Prince Sarjay specializes in earth magic. She asks if Amelia really did not know that fact. Erica explains that everyone is born with an innate magic element that never changes. She notes royal bloodlines possess light magic alongside standard elements and immense mana. Amelia mentions she was already aware of that basic detail. Erica clarifies that royals can choose a second element to specialize in alongside light. The Crown Prince wields offensive fire magic, Prince Est uses support wind magic, and Prince Julius focuses on water and healing. She adds that Prince Sarjay specializes in earth magic. Amelia realizes having an earth specialist prince take interest in her domain is a rare honor. She decides she must learn more about the royal society. Erica agrees that it is high time she caught up. Erica shifts the topic and asks if Amelia has met her fiancé yet. Amelia quietly admits she has not. Erica tries to reassure her that an urgent matter probably kept him away. Amelia quietly nods in response. Erica smiles and tells her not to worry about it. Amelia looks at Erica with gratitude. She softly thanks her friend for the comforting words. The evening party draws to a close. Amelia turns her focus toward her upcoming academy life. She laments never finding Reze as classes officially begin. Soon after, students gather to check the posted academic standings. Erica excitedly points out that Amelia made class with top scores. Meanwhile, Amelia feels disappointed she never got to talk to Reze. Erica praises her friend for taking first place overall. She exclaims how incredible the achievement is. Amelia reacts in complete disbelief at her high score. Amelia realizes the exam-covered material her home tutors had already taught her. Because of that, ranking first felt naturally expected. She wonders if studying will even be necessary. At this academy, noble networking matters just as much as magic education. Socializing remains the central focus of academy life. Amelia worries since making friends is not her strength. She wonders how she will manage on her own. Students socialize in groups inside the Grand Academy corridor. Amelia notices the cold atmosphere around her classmates. She reacts in confusion to the sudden cold distance. Amelia walks down the hallway, lost in thought. Amelia tries to reassure herself that there is no need to panic. She wonders if she is being intentionally left out. Even as a microcosm of noble society, the academy is still a place for learning. She figures focusing on this will protect her from harm. Class A consists almost entirely of high-ranking capital nobles, while Erica is in Class B. She thought she could manage on her own, but something catches her attention. She gasps as she realizes a pattern is emerging. Amelia is shocked to encounter yet another setback. Amelia rushes into class and apologizes for being late. The instructor sternly notes that room changes were announced yesterday. He scolds her for failing to stay informed again. Amelia realizes she was never given any notice about the rescheduled practice room. She realizes important announcements are being intentionally withheld from her. She initially assumed it was just a simple communication mistake. Students intentionally ignore Amelia as she tries to speak with them. No one answers when she attempts to reach out to them. Her classmates refuse to talk to her even when she has valid questions. Amelia observes the group blocking the walkway. She politely asks if she can squeeze past them in the hallway. The hostility stems from the Marquis's daughter standing at the center of the class. The noble girl rudely barks that Amelia is standing in her way. Amelia gasps from the sudden harsh push. She confirms that this mistreatment is definitely not her imagination. It was an unmistakable display of direct hostility toward her. Watching the rest of the class, Amelia sees everyone falling in line behind the Marquis's daughter. Amelia ponders in solitude as she reflects on these recent encounters. She points out that she has never even spoken to her bully, wondering if her rural roots are the cause or why she is hated so deeply. These troubling thoughts weigh heavily on her mind as she walks down the hall. She catches sight of another student walking further down the corridor. Erica stands quietly in the hallway as Amelia observes her from afar. Amelia brightens up and calls out excitedly to Erica. She rushes over happily toward her friend across the corridor. Erica turns around slowly in surprise at the sudden greeting. Erica glances back in complete confusion as Amelia approaches. Amelia catches with a bright smile on her face. The two girls walk together in the spacious open hallway. Meanwhile, other noble students observe them from the upper balcony above. Whispers echo around Amelia as students mock her and her friend Erica. She agonizes over why she is targeted when she did nothing wrong. Refusing to break down, Amelia refuses to let her bully see her tears. She turns away and walks hurriedly down the grand staircase. She knows she needs to escape the crowd immediately. Her only thought is to search for a quiet place to be alone. As she rushes around the corner, she suddenly collides with a blonde young man. The impact causes both of them to tumble together onto the stone floor. Stunned from the fall, Amelia gasps as he stammers out an apology. He quickly says sorry for the clumsy collision. Amelia looks up bewildered as a stern voice suddenly scolds the act as disrespectful. Roy intervenes sharply and orders the prince to let go of her at once. The young prince apologizes, explaining he tried to catch her but fell instead. He then asks if she is hurt. Amelia recognizes Prince Sarjay, who smiles and realizes it is her. He warmly remarks on how often they seem to bump into each other. The guard stands watchful in the corridor as Sarjay reaches out a hand to help her. Sarjay offers an apology for his guard's harsh tone while Amelia frantically apologizes instead. He gently offers his hand and asks if she can stand. Amelia gratefully thanks him as he helps her up. Roy rushes over in a panic, checking if the prince hurt his wrist while berating himself after the prince downplays it as a light twist. Ignoring his own injury, Sarjay asks his guard to help her stand up instead. Roy then approaches her cautiously to offer his assistance. Amelia looks back with concern as Roy reaches down toward her. She turns her gaze away, feeling completely overwhelmed by the situation. Sarjay watches her closely, noticing the deep distress on her face. The surrounding students stand by and whisper among themselves. Amelia despairs that even these people treat her with hostility, reflecting on how her time in the capital has been nothing but coldness. She laments that she knows nobody here and done nothing wrong. She wonders why everyone hates her so much before trying to assure herself she is fine. As she tries to push herself up, she winces in sudden pain. Sarge cries out a warning and quickly catches her as she falls. Amelia gasps his name and profusely apologizes for tumbling into him. He glares back over his shoulder, looking puzzled by the reaction around them. Sarjay points out to Amelia that she seems to have sprained her ankle. He adjusts his hold on her, preparing to carry her himself. Surjit declares he will take her to the infirmary and tells her not to move. Roy calls out in worry for his prince. Roy urges Sarge to stop because he is injured too. He insists on taking care of Amelia himself. Sarge replies that being carried by someone she does not trust would only make her feel more uneasy. He dismisses Roy and Paul, telling them they may go for the day. Roy calls out Sarjay's name in concern as the prince turns to leave. Amelia asks Sarjay if he is angry on her behalf. Meanwhile, the surrounding students wonder what is going on as Roy insists they cannot just leave it like this. Julius suddenly arrives on the scene, greeted warmly by his younger brother. The two brothers glance at each other in the middle of the gathered crowd. Amelia recognizes the prince immediately as he approaches them. The group gathers together around Amelia to check on her condition. Amelia looks surprised as Roy admits he bumped into her, asking Sarji to heal her after the collision. Amelia looks down shyly, feeling slightly overwhelmed by the situation. She insists that she is completely fine and that it is not a big deal. Julius apologizes for his brother's mistake and insists on taking her straight to the infirmary. Julius dismisses the surrounding students and decides to accompany Sarjay himself. The onlookers step back respectfully as the royals take charge. Whispers of royalty echo around them while Amelia wonders why this keeps happening to her. She quietly tries to reassure herself that everything will be fine. Julius asks if she is in pain anywhere else, but she thanks him while trailing off. Amelia hesitantly points out that Prince Sarjay is actually injured as well. Julius turns to ask where Sarjay is hurt. Amelia mentions that she believes the injury is on his right wrist. Sarjay looks thoughtfully at his wrist in reaction. Sarjay holds out his hands gently to inspect the injury. Julius hums thoughtfully as he looks closely at Sarjay's wrist. Sarjay offers his hand forward without hesitation. Healing light glows around their hands as magic takes effect. Julius nods in agreement once the healing magic finishes. Amelia thanks them for saving her, but Julius notes that Sarjay always hides his injuries and it could have gotten worse without her noticing. Amelia sighs with relief while Sarjay insists he should be thanking her for using healing magic on a minor injury, to which she humbly tells him to think nothing of it. Julius suddenly remembers Amelia as the Lady Sarjay escorted earlier and teasingly wonders if Sarjay is finally considering choosing a fiancé. The elder prince points out that she already has a fiancé and was simply unaccompanied that day. Sarjay finds the news disappointing as his brother mentions having stepped in to escort her. She then politely introduces herself as Count Lenia's daughter. Julius introduces himself and asks if he may call her Amelia, to which she agrees. Sarjay remarks that it is more than he deserves, prompting Julius to urge him to ask too. Sarjay looks away hesitantly as the princes exchange banter. Julius continues to nudge Sarj while Amelia finds their playful teasing charming. Amelia internally begs them not to drag her into their teasing while Sarjay agrees softly. Sarj smiles gently as he turns his attention back to Amelia. Sarjay asks if he may call her Amelia as well and she flusteredly agrees. Amelia looks up in surprise at how close Sarjay seems. Julius teases Sarja about making his first friend and tells him to cherish her. Julius explains Sarj was always obsessed with botany, so he was worried about him. Sarjay steps closer and asks Amelia to simply call him Sarjay instead. Amelia startles and quickly agrees to his request. Sarj and Amelia share a quiet moment standing side by side. Julius pops up to declare himself her friend too and insists she call him Julius. Julius offers to walk Amelia to her dormitory since it is getting late. Amelia panics internally about being seen walking across campus with two princes. Julius smiles slyly while offering no escape. Julius points out they are heading to the royal castle anyway, so friends should walk together. Amelia realizes she has been completely cornered by his logic. Amelia despairs in silence as she realizes she cannot possibly decline. She stands alone, looking down in silence. Her gaze lingers while lost in deep thought. Noticing that it is nearly closing time with few people remaining, she turns back and sees that Erica has already left. She knows speaking to her again will only make her run away with that same cold look. She decides that if Reze avoids her too, she will manage these 3 years alone without interacting with anyone. Amelia wishes she had stayed alone from the start instead of facing this hatred. She lost all drive to confront Reze or learn why everyone despises her. Telling herself she is okay, she recalls her past excitement to study and see Reze again. Now her only goal is learning useful magic for her territory. Sarjay interrupts her thoughts and gently speaks her name. Amelia looks up with tears in her eyes as she calls Prince Sarjay. She remembers his gentle concern. Sitting on her bed, she reflects on being hated by everyone as a low noble who shouldn't act as a royal's friend. Yet Sarjay called her his friend and escorted her regardless of his own troubles. Knowing he showed genuine care for her gives her strength to keep going. Walking through the academy halls, Amelia holds onto that hope while whispers echo behind her. The surrounding students watch her with cold indifference. Nearby students sneer that her loneliness is pathetic and well-deserved. Amelia notices strangers mocking her regardless of their grade. Trying to ignore them, someone intentionally trips her and falsely claims her hand slipped. Amelia cries out as she loses her balance and tumbles down. She tries her best to block out the harsh laughter. Amelia groans in pain on the floor. Sarji rushes over in surprise and asks if she is all right. Amelia gasps his name in relief as he reaches out. Someone cries out after being burned by hot tea. Amelia turns around in shock at the sudden disturbance. She exclaims that Prince Sarji has burned his hand, saving her. Sarja asks why he intervened so recklessly. Prince Julius arrives to ask what is causing all this commotion. Sarja assures him that everything is fine. Julius is surprised to see Sarja in such a place and asks why he is here. Julius turns to check if Amelia can stand up. Sarja insists the incident is nothing serious. Amelia tells him to tend to his own burned hand instead of worrying about her. He looks at his hand in confusion, so she thanks him. Roy rushes into the room in a panic. Roy demands to know why Prince Sarji's in a place like this. Julius asks where Sarji's escorts are. Julius remarks that Sarja might need a change in escorts. The group prepares to move to a private room. Roy orders Sarja and Amelia to come to the student council room so they can hear the details there. Julius demands that the two female students state their year. One of the girls begs for forgiveness, pleading that they did nothing wrong. Julius warns that if they do not answer, they will be taken to the royal castle for questioning. He points out sternly that they have harmed Sarja. The girls confess that they are both in their second year. Julius insists they cannot be let go without an explanation. Amelia realizes they are students from the year above her. The girl insists that her hand merely slipped and spilled the tea, pleading that they had no intention of hurting Sarja. She adds that Amelia just happened to be standing there when it occurred. Julius asks what happened after that. Sarja speaks up, noting that he was wondering about the same thing. Julius turns to Sarji and asks why he was in the cafeteria in the first place, since royals usually dine in private rooms. Sarja explains that he followed Amelia into the cafeteria to ask her a question. Julius sighs, noting that Sarja went off alone again. Amelia asks what Sarja wanted to inquire about. He asks if the cold-resistant grain approved last year is being cultivated in the Lenia domain. Amelia explains that they planted a trial crop last year and achieved an increased yield. She shares that her territory now uses the new variety almost exclusively. Sarja asks if she means the Guri strain, and she enthusiastically confirms it. Julius then asks her for details about last year's yield and pests before turning his attention back to his brother. Sarja reminds him that he understands his passion as a former botany researcher. However, Julius insists that an urgent matter must take precedence over crop research. Amelia marvelingly realizes Sarja is actively developing crop breeding to fix the national food supply. Julius then redirects everyone's focus back to the immediate topic at hand. He warns that any false testimony will be verified through reenactment magic. The accused student stammers in shock upon hearing about reenactment magic. Amelia wonders if it is rare royal light magic while Julius directs them to watch the screen. Amelia stands alone inside the hall while the crowd whispering nearby ignores her. Amelia watches the floating memory projection in utter disbelief. Cruel voices in the memory mock Amelia's isolation and claim she got what she deserved. As Amelia questions their words, a student falsely excuses dropping an item on her. Reze watches in silence from afar as the other nobles gather inside the room. Meanwhile, Amelia sits quietly at her table while a sudden commotion breaks out nearby. Julius snaps his fingers to call for attention, stepping into the scene with quiet authority. Julius quietly notes that he now understands the truth. Nearby, a female student sweat drops nervously beside her companion. Other onlookers watch the scene unfold with tense expressions. Sarj keeps his quiet focus on the tense encounter. Julius confirms there was no hostility towards Sarje, but their excuse was a clear lie. He looks sternly ahead as he addresses the situation. Julius orders them taken away and declares that lying and intentionally harming another student cannot be overlooked. Amelia and her peers watch quietly as the troublemakers are escorted away. He then asks her if she has any idea why she was targeted, but she replies that she does not even know who they were. Julius notes how unfortunate the situation. Meanwhile, the others watch silently as the conversation continues. He mentions that unpleasant rumors have been spreading across the academy, suggesting they need to investigate. Julius explains to Amelia that he wants to ask her a few questions to confirm the truth. Amelia asks what kind of rumors are going around. The group stands in silence inside the library while processing the situation. Surprised that Amelia was unaware of such massive rumors, Roy turns to ask Sarji why he approached her. Sarji seems slightly confused by the phrasing. Julius watches their reaction closely. Sarji explains that he ditched his escort to head home during the party and simply happened to spot Amelia. Seeing her looking lonely all by herself, he decided to approach and talk to her to offer help. Sarji looks up in wide-eyed amazement as he recalls his impression of Amelia. Sarji shares that he later learned she was Count Lenia's daughter, which made him want to ask for her help with botany research. Amelia looks moved as Sarji adds that talking with her was genuinely fun. Julius clarifies that Sarji had no intention of investigating rumors at all. Julius asks if Sarji simply wanted to become friends with Amelia. Roy realizes this situation could be turned into a good opportunity, prompting Julius to ask what he means. Sarji confirms his feelings while Roy calls out to him. Julius agrees that making a friend is wonderful for someone usually buried in research. Julius points out that despite the positive side, there is still a concern. He reminds everyone that Amelia is currently engaged, so being alone with Sarge could damage her reputation. Sarge quickly assures them that he does not want to cause Amelia any trouble. Julius proposes that Sarge must bring an escort whenever he meets with Amelia. Sarge readily agrees to the condition. Roy inwardly realizes that Julius is using Amelia so Sarge will finally stop ditching his escorts. Roy accepts the role, noting that royalty shouldn't go around unattended. Amelia suddenly realizes the real reason behind the arrangement. Sarge warmly thanks Amelia for going along with it. Roy eagerly vows to protect Prince Sarge going forward. Julius entrusts Sarge to Roy and Amelia. Amelia feels overwhelmed by the sudden weight of such a massive responsibility. Sarge then speaks up, mentioning he has a question for his brother. Julius asks what it is, and Sarge points out his intimidating expression. Julius softens only because she asked him to stay calm. Amelia reassures him that he does not need to force a smile. Sarge insists that Julius should still make an effort not to scare others. Julius redirects the topic and asks what Sarge wanted to inquire about. Sarge asks about Amelia, curious why her reputation is supposedly at risk regarding her fiancé. Amelia reacts in surprise as the conversation turns toward her situation. She realizes Julius likely knows the full truth behind her circumstances. Julius listens carefully as they begin clarifying the details. Julius confirms whether her fiancé is Reze, the second son of Marcus Sarma. Amelia explains she last saw Reze when he left for the academy last spring. Sarge asks about letters. Amelia sent several, but Reze only sent brief replies claiming he was busy. Julius looks stern as the situation becomes clearer. Julius reveals that Reze became close with a woman named Lady Sarah. Sar urges Julius to explain everything directly so Amelia does not worry. Julius agrees and apologizes, preparing to outline the full rumor. Amelia stands stunned as the harsh truth unfolds. Julius states that Reze fell in love with Sarah and requested to break the engagement. He adds that rumors claim Amelia refused and harshly berated Reze for his betrayal. Amelia listens in complete shock to the false story being spread. Amelia gasps at the shocking accusation made against her. She denies it completely, stating she had never heard of this before. Julius explains how romantic idealists view Reze as a tragic lover. Consequently, Amelia is portrayed as a villain who tried to ruin their love. Without even realizing it, she had gradually been framed as the villain. She looks on in shock as she tries to process the sudden revelation. She protests that neither her father nor Reze ever mentioned anything about this. Amelia insists she must speak to Reze directly, but Sarge warns her against doing so. Sarge explains that confronting him now would only play into the hands of those rumors. He warns that Reze might have intentionally leaked the rumors to force this outcome. Amelia listens silently as the grim reality settles over her. Julius stands alongside Sarge while listening intently to the ongoing discussion. Julius notes that most academy students blindly accepted the false stories without her around. Sarge points out that not a single person ever bothered to ask Amelia for her truth. Julius urges her to remain calm and avoid falling into their trap. Amelia agrees and thanks them for the crucial advice. Julius warns that international students are involved, making this a potential diplomatic issue. He declares that while royals usually ignore noble marriages, this spiteful malice demands action. He promises they will launch a full investigation immediately to uncover the whole truth. Amelia offers to check with her father as well, but Sarge gently speaks up. Sarge asks how her Class A peers treat her, while Julius asks if she has news from Reze. Amelia looks puzzled, so Julius stresses that her honest answer about her classmates is vital. She quietly acknowledges the truth of her situation. Julius apologizes for holding her up and takes his leave, while Amelia warmly thanks him. After he departs, Sarge and Amelia walk together side by side through the grand hallway. She hesitates briefly before thanking him for protecting her in the cafeteria. Sarge offers a gentle smile and says he is glad she was not hurt. Amelia explains that she kept detailed agricultural records on harvest data, growth, and pest issues. When Sarge offers to look over the records, Amelia looks up in pleasantly surprised delight. Sarge chuckles at her eager response as they continue their conversation. Amelia admits she compiled the data for Reze, but Sarge promises to visit her classroom to collect it personally. She asks where to take it tomorrow, and he insists on coming to her class instead. Sarge listens attentively with a warm, friendly expression. Sarge reassures her that he will bring an escort along, so Amelia happily accepts his offer. Students in the corridor whisper and gaze in amazement as the royal prince walks past. Sarge strides away down the hall, leaving a lasting impression on the onlookers. Amelia watches him leave with a gentle, hopeful look on her face. Suddenly, a student shouts out that class is about to begin. He urges everyone in the hallway to take their seats immediately. Students scramble and hurry back inside their respective classrooms. Amelia realizes the time and begins to panic as the hallway clears out. The surrounding classmates laugh and chatter loudly as they gather around. Realizing she was left behind, Amelia steeling her resolve to hurry back and prepare the data. As she rushes forward, Amelia trips suddenly and lets out a startled gasp. Amelia cries out in alarm as a pair of arms catches her firmly mid-fall. Amelia blinks in confusion, wondering who has caught her so suddenly. Amelia sets to work at her desk, determined to stay focused. She pumps her fist, cheering herself on to do her absolute best. She pauses as memories of her engagement resurface. Amelia remembered bringing documents specifically because Reze requested them, doing everything for his sake. She gasps in realization as past memories come back into focus. Amelia wonders if the person who just left the library could actually be Reze. Students around her confirm it was indeed Reze leaving with a woman. Seeing her for the first time in a year, Amelia realizes that woman must be his rumored lover. She reflects on how thoroughly the woman was avoiding her when they unexpectedly crossed paths. Amelia guesses the woman was startled, thinking she had been followed after overhearing their whereabouts. She sits quietly at her desk, processing everything. It was no surprise Reze fell in love with someone else and wanted to break off their engagement. What truly shocked her were the false rumors that she had refused and insulted him. Reze humiliated her for his lover's sake, but Amelia has lost so much interest she did not even recognize him. She realizes she no longer holds the slightest lingering feelings for him. She wants to end the engagement immediately, but knows her father will not allow it easily. Realizing this, she decides she must write a letter to her father. Amelia considers asking if he heard from Reze, though she suspects her father might be suppressing messages. Sealing the finished letter, Amelia turns her attention back to organizing her research materials. The Grand Academy buildings stand tall against the skyline. Time passes as the sun moves over the campus. Amelia packs up her heavy stack of prepared documents. Carrying the thick pile of documents, Amelia hopes they prove useful for Sarge. She notices other students watching her in the hallway. Amira glares at her alongside her group of aristocratic peers. Amelia sighs internally and tells herself to simply ignore the hostile glares from the other students. Amira loudly proclaims that she would willingly withdraw as a candidate if she ever bothered Lord Julius, claiming that clinging to such a position is pathetic. Amelia listens in silence, stunned by the harshness of the noblewoman's words. The surrounding nobles praise Amira, calling her the only suitable partner for the prince. Amelia worries quietly to herself that spreading such rumors could cause real trouble. Bystanders whisper to each other to ignore the commotion and avoid getting involved. Amira expresses her annoyance as she watches Amelia walk away. She wonders aloud what was inside the bag Amelia was holding so tightly. Amelia walks down the hallway, keeping her head down. She feels relieved that at least nothing bad happened during lunch today. Suddenly, Amelia stops in surprise as she checks her surroundings. She looks toward the empty spot where her belongings were supposed to be. She realizes with shock that her bag is completely gone. Other students exclaim in disbelief at the sudden disappearance. Amelia rushes out to the balcony overlooked by a large courtyard fountain. She gasps as she spots her bag thrown down into the fountain water. Her important documents float soaked in the water below. Amelia stands horrified as she watches the damage done to her work. She grips her hands tightly, thinking that this bullying has gone far too far. Amelia reflects in anger that Amira is a complete outsider to her engagement. She cannot comprehend how someone could be so cruel based on mere rumors. The water splashes around her ruined papers submerged at the bottom. She kneels by the edge of the fountain, staring down in distress. She groans softly as she gazes in despair at the ruined papers. Suddenly, a friendly student approaches and calls out to her. The noble girl asks Amelia if she is feeling okay. The kind girl offers her a warm smile. Amelia admires her beauty as the girl offers a hand to help her stand up. She notices Amelia's soaked uniform and asks what happened. Amelia explains that her bag vanished after she stepped out for lunch. The student finds the harassment appalling for their academy. She asks Amelia if she suspects anyone. Amelia pauses thoughtfully before answering. Amelia hesitates, stating it is only speculation. The girl presses her to share her thought anyway. Amelia admits it is simply because of her identity as Amelia Lenia. The student realizes she is the girl from the rumors and asks her to hold something. She wonders why classmates would do this to her. Amelia complies as the girl asserts there should be no valid reason for such treatment. The student casts wind magic to help clean up the mess. She apologizes that her spell cannot fully restore the papers. Amelia gratefully assures her that this is already more than enough. Amelia is deeply touched by her kindness. The student remarks that rumors cannot be trusted. She states Amelia is nothing like the person Reze described. Amelia asks if she knows Reze. She explains that they were classmates in Class A during their first year. She recalls that Reze was studious at first. However, he changed completely after meeting Sarah. He lost all focus in class. By their second year, his grades dropped all the way to Class C. Amelia understands the situation better now. She realizes Reze was simply too infatuated to study. The girl introduces herself as Marie Adori, a second-year student. Disliking how Reze handled things, she offers Amelia her help. She belongs to Count Adori's wealthy household. Her family is famous for their rich ore mines and vast wealth. Amelia expresses her sincere gratitude for such unexpected warmth. As Marie bids farewell, Amelia marvels at meeting someone so truly kind. She sincerely thanks her new ally for the kind support. Left alone again, Amelia wonders helplessly what she should do next. She knows that no classmate will ever apologize if she returns to the classroom. Everyone thinks it is fine to mistreat her. She feels completely friendless as a countryside noble with a ruined reputation. She reflects in silence on her lonely situation. The grand school building stretches out before her. Students chatter merrily inside the bustling classroom. She notes how the students ruthlessly isolate anyone outside their circle. Amelia realizes they survive high society by showering praise on popular individuals. She admits her rural background limits her understanding, but suspects this is typical noble behavior. This brutal social hierarchy defines life in the capital. She reminds herself that good people like Marie, Lord Julius, and Lord Sarge exist. She suddenly notices someone approaching in the hallway. Amelia notices an armed knight, knowing only royalty carry weapons at school. The knight suggests changing the escort duty. Amelia gasps as she recognizes who has arrived. She realizes what is about to happen. Sarge greets Amelia warm-heartedly as he steps forward. Roy shouts a warning as Sarge reprimands him for stepping directly in front. Amelia recognizes Roy as Sar's newly assigned bodyguard. Sarjep gently asks Amelia if he kept her waiting. She addresses him directly in relief. Sarjay chuckles that his new guard is already struggling while Amelia watches on. Sarjay eagerly mentions how much he looked forward to her agricultural research documents. He suddenly stumbles with an exclamation and promises to be more careful. Amelia assures him it is fine since he brought an escort as promised. She praises him for following their agreement. Amelia is shocked that the prince actually followed her advice. Roy looks on intently from behind Sarjay. Amelia hesitantly addresses Lord Sarji about the documents she was supposed to hand over. She apologizes profusely to him. She feels deeply embarrassed about the situation. Sarjay looks closely at the papers in front of him. Sarjay holds the ruined documents while Amelia stands nervously before him. Amelia silently wonders how things turned out like this. She considers taking the blame herself, confident Lord Sarjay would forgive her. She questions whether she should truly just endure being treated with such blatant malice. She looks down with a solemn expression as she reflects on her painful situation. She firmly decides that the answer is no. Sarg speaks up, calling out Amelia's name in concern. Amelia resolves to tell the truth. She explains that after stepping out for lunch, she returned to find her bag submerged in the courtyard fountain. Flashback panels show the moment her belongings were ruined. Sarjay listens thoughtfully as she explains what happened. Sarjay clarifies if she had left her bag behind in the classroom. Amelia confirms she did, but Amira immediately shouts that she is a liar and threw it in herself. Amira appeals to the watching crowd to back her up before warning Sarjay not to let Amelia deceive him just to get attention. The surrounding students freeze in anxious shock. Amelia realizes the bystanders are trapped in a dilemma where lying offends Sarjay while denying it angers Amira. Amira aggressively demands an immediate response from both students. One of the intimidated students stammers out an uncertain reply. The pressured students exchange uneasy glances. Under intense pressure, one student nervously claims to have seen it too. Amira smirks triumphantly at the coerced testimony. Amira gleefully points out the testimony to Sarjay as proof. However, Amelia notices that Sarjay is completely ignoring Amira's outburst. Sarj closely examines the water-damaged documents in his hands. Sari softly remarks that he cannot read the smudged pages in this condition. Sarjay apologizes and mentions someone dried the pages with wind magic, though it ruined the text. He acknowledges how much effort it must have taken to recopy all this work. Amelia reassures him that the originals are safe in her dorm and she can bring them tomorrow. While Sarjay ponders the wind magic clue, Amira furiously screams at him to listen to her. Amira reaches out aggressively to grab Sarjay. Amira gasps as Roy firmly blocks her outstretched hand. Roy sternly warns her that she must not touch His Highness without permission. The surrounding onlookers gasp in shock, while Amira recoils in utter disbelief at being stopped so bluntly. Tension thickens instantly inside the classroom. Amira boasts that she will officially become Prince Julius's fiancé next year before turning to Amelia and demanding she back off immediately. She reinforces her statement with total confidence. She formally introduces herself as Amira Kadari. Prince Sarjay orders Kaido to bring his older brother, however, Kaido politely refuses the command. The surrounding students watch the confrontation unfold. Surprised, Sarjay questions Kaido's refusal. Roy clarifies that as the royal guard, he cannot leave the prince's side. Kaido agrees with this logic, prompting Prince Sarjay to decide he will go himself if Amelia goes. Prince Sarjay prepares to take control of the situation. Amira tries to interject, but Prince Sarjay ignores her and orders Kaido to guard the room. Kaido eagerly agrees to carry out his task. Amelia retrieves the agricultural records from her bag. Julius asks Amelia if those are the documents, and she confirms they were inside her bag. Amira tries to get Julius's attention, pleading with him to listen to her distress. Amelia reacts with quiet confusion. A sudden disturbance breaks out among the students. The onlookers whisper in shock that Lord Julius has arrived. They wonder what is happening and insist they have nothing to do with it. Julius addresses the remaining students left in the classroom. He firmly commands everyone to take their seats. The room falls quiet under his authoritative presence. Lord Sarge asks Amelia how her classmates in Class A have been treating her. A flashback panel shows the quiet setting of the academy during their discussion. Amelia listens attentively while recalling yesterday's quiet events. Recalling yesterday, Prince Julius asks Amelia for a truthful answer about her classmates, and she agrees. Amelia looks vibrant, surrounded by floral patterns as the chapter opens. Sarjay nods in understanding while Julius prepares to mention an important detail. The royals gather together in the room to deliberate further on the matter. Sarge mentions a fiancé candidate for his brother in Amelia's class, surprising her, before Julius identifies her as Marka Keeter's daughter. Sar realizes that he is referring to Lady Amira. Julius explains that they plan to choose his fiancé after graduation based on family status, making her one of the potential candidates. Julius sternly states that if Amira is using false rumors to target Amelia, she will be removed as a fiancé candidate. Sarji assures everyone that they will not act solely on Amelia's word alone. He promises they will conduct a thorough investigation to confirm every single truth. Prince Julius stands inside the grand classroom addressing the present students. The students whisper among themselves as Julius takes command of the room. Julius steps forward to begin the questioning in front of the assembled class. Julius presents the ruined bag and asks if it belongs to Amelia and held materials meant for Sarjay. Amelia confirms that the bag indeed belongs to her. She explains that she found it floating in the courtyard fountain, shocking Amira, who asks how it ended up in such a state. Amelia begins to say she left for lunch, but Amira furiously cuts her off, accusing Amelia of lying to both Lord Sarge and Lord Julius. The prince gazes sternly down as the room grows tense. She shouts that Amelia dropped the bag herself, but he immediately silences her, ordering her to sit. She sits back down, looking frustrated and flustered as students watch nervously. Julius notes Amelia's account of the situation. He asks if anyone can testify, pointing out Amira's conflicting claim. The surrounding noble students exchange subtle glances. Julius listens quietly with a sharp look in his eyes. Julius asks the witnesses if they directly saw Amelia drop the bag. The accused students lower their heads in anxiety. They lyingly confirm that they saw the entire incident happen. Julius quietly nods as he absorbing their response. Julius decides to resolve the dispute definitively. He announces that he will use reenactment magic to determine the truth. Surprised whispers break out among the students in the classroom. They wonder what reenactment magic is since most have never heard of it. Students look on in confusion as the magic prepares to cast. Someone explains that it is a rare form of light magic. The students whisper among themselves in fascination. A student explains that reenactment magic reveals past events. He notes that only royalty can perform it. The spell is unknown to ordinary nobles because it belongs to that royal sphere. Another student simply agrees. Another noble adds that outside the academy, it is used only by official request. He mentions that high-ranking nobles and knights are aware of it. They themselves are among the few who understand its function. Students remark that at the academy, the magic has only ever been used to find missing persons or clear false accuses. They point out that its primary purpose is to expose crimes. Because of that, it is natural that no one present has witnessed it before. A student grimly notes that whoever is judged guilty by this magic never returns to their former position. A student gasps in utter disbelief as chaos breaks out around them. Meanwhile, the other noble students look on in stunned silence. Another girl cries out in shock at the sudden commotion. In the midst of the scuffle, hands push aggressively against one another. Satisfied, the speaker approves and vows that they won't escape punishment. The surrounding students watch tensely as the situation unfolds before them. A stern voice demands that the accused individual stands up immediately. One of the students lowers her head in quiet compliance. Hands tremble nervously under the severe pressure of the situation. An atmosphere of solemn judgment fills the quiet classroom setup. The authority figure coldly declares that they will now begin proceedings. Students whisper that only a few remain in class during lunch break. They point out that the target's bag is still resting on the desk. Amelia reacts in surprise as she overhears their spiteful scheming nearby. A hostile student spitefully sneers that Amelia infuriates her deeply. The noble girl complains that Amelia acts perfect just for being top of the class. She fumes over Amelia allegedly doing malicious things behind everyone's back. She insists that this hypocritical behavior is completely unforgivable. Amelia listens in shock as the malicious gossip spreads further. Another student claims Amelia cornered Lord Reze in the library yesterday. She adds that even Sarah was terrified by Amelia's intimidation. She claims Amelia demanded that Reze end their engagement immediately. A student stands quietly near the doorway, observing the scene. Amelia realizes that Reze is indeed the coward orchestrating these vicious rumors. She reflects on how yesterday's encounter was twisted into this false story. She knows she didn't even speak to those two during that time. She frustrates over how others blindly repeat malicious lies without knowing the truth. Meanwhile, near the courtyard balcony, someone watches the scene from above. Amira smirks and suggests throwing Amelia's precious bag straight into the fountain. She chuckles that it sounds fun, startling the accomplices beside her. Julius confronts them sternly, demanding if they truly intend to defy him. Amira stammers in disbelief, insisting she is destined to become his fiancé. Amira gasps in horror and tries to explain herself. She desperately insists that the situation is not what it looks like. Julius looks down at her with a severe, unyielding glare. He turns away coldly, expressing his deep disappointment in Amira. Julius considers the matter further, noting that it remains an internal student issue within the academy. He points out that the other two girls were also threatened into participating. Julius instructs them to offer Amelia a sincere apology. He promises that if Amelia forgives them, he will not escalate the punishment further. The trembling girls bow down, terrified of further consequences. They tearfully face Amelia to beg for mercy. The two students bow low and apologize profusely, begging Amelia to forgive them. Amelia sighs heavily, caught off guard by their sudden change in attitude. Sari steps forward beside Amelia, watching the resolution unfold. Sar gazes gently toward Amelia with quiet concern. The watching students exchange confused glances among themselves. Amelia turns in surprise toward Sarge as Julius speaks up. Julius reminds everyone that Amelia was merely assisting Lord Sarge with his research. He states firmly that her action constitutes direct interference with royal research. Amira glares back at him in utter shock and disbelief. He explains that Sarge's work is vital, so a simple apology will never suffice. Amira desperately protests that she had no idea about the documents. She insists she was completely unaware they belonged to Lord Sarge. Julius remains entirely unmoved by her frantic excuses. He turns his back on her as she reaches out in desperation. He concedes that her ignorance might be true. However, he points out she still knew the papers mattered to Amelia. Julius adds that this was not her only offense. He accuses her of abusing power and spreading baseless rumors. He sternly expresses his profound disappointment in her behavior. He reminds her that great power requires great responsibility. Julius officially removes her as a candidate for royal marriage because she lacks understanding. Amira screams his name in total disbelief. She begs him to wait as guards restrain her. Amira refuses to accept what is happening. She calls out repeatedly to Julius as he walks away. She screams that this must be a joke and rejects her fate. Amira insists she was destined to become royalty. She fumes that a country girl ruined everything, crying out her love before collapsing in tears. Julius looks down sternly at her as she lies weeping. He reminds her of her previous promise to step back if she became a burden. Coldly pointing out that she was merely one candidate among many, he adds that the accomplice's punishment will come later. Amira trembles nervously as she realizes the severity of her situation. Julius asks her if she truly believed being removed as a candidate was the only consequence. A solemn truth notes that those who face judgment never return to their former position. Amira gasps in despair as the full weight of her downfall hits her. Desperate, Amira begs Julius for forgiveness as she reaches out frantically toward him. Julius turns away with cold indifference, uttering a sharp exclamation. Amira collapses prostrate on the stone floor, screaming in anguish as Julius walks away. The majestic gates of the royal castle tower grandly against the sky. Carriages line up before the grand entrance as distinguished visitors arrive. Amelia notes to herself that she has never even attended a dance party at the royal castle before. She looks down over the vast grounds, reflecting on how unexpected her very first visit here has turned out. Amira screams out in pure fury, asking why such a terrible thing is happening to her. She angrily points her finger, placing the entire blame directly onto Amelia. She curses Amelia's name in sheer desperation and hatred. Sarge directly suggests that they should make their way to the royal castle. Amelia gasps in absolute shock at the sudden suggestion. Sarge confirms it calmly, explaining that his brother S can surely restore her ruined documents. He quickly reconsidered, deciding he will rewrite them properly himself, even if it proves to be a total nightmare. Sarge gently reaches out and takes Amelia's hand into his own. Amelia stammers in complete surprise at his unexpected gesture. Sarge smiles softly at her, mentioning that there is also something special he wants to show her. She begins to hesitate as he leads her along. Amelia softly calls out Lord Sarge's name, looking down at his hand holding hers as they walk forward together. Outside, a horse-drawn carriage travels along the path. Once inside the carriage, Sarge finally releases her hand. She reflects on how they held hands so publicly despite her ongoing engagement. They ended up attracting unwanted attention. However, if she had stayed, she would not have known how to handle the situation. She feels helpless thinking about what could have happened. Amelia looks out the carriage window with a thoughtful expression. She decides it was for the best that Sarge took her away. Noticing her quiet mood, Sarge gently asks her what is wrong. Amelia startles slightly, searching for a way to respond. She comments on the beautiful garden visible outside. The lush botanical glasshouse stands in full view outside. Amelia gazes out at the scenery in wonder. Sarge confirms her observation with a gentle smile. Amelia addresses Lord Sarge directly about the garden flora. He explains that he uses the garden for research. He points out a flower resembling a lurila blossom, noting its unusual size. He describes how altering soil composition slightly changes flower variety and blooming periods. Amelia realizes her suspicion was right. She admits her own research is currently limited to flowers and herbs. She excitedly exclaims that applying this technique to crops would be revolutionary. She finds his botanical work utterly amazing. Sarge looks at her fondly as she speaks about research. Sarge promises to give her a full tour of the grounds next time. Sarge brings up the subject of the guri plant to hear her thoughts. Amelia gasps in realization upon hearing him mention it. She asks if he was personally involved in developing the guri strain. She recalls its cold resistance and potential to save Lenia from famine. Sarge smiles softly, confirming her deduction. Amelia stares at him in wide-eyed amazement. He confirms his involvement and mentions his focus on harvest yield and pest resistance. Amelia is thrilled to understand the truth behind the project. Amelia apologizes, worried she made him feel uncomfortable with her questioning. Sarge quickly reassures her that it is not a problem at all. Amelia tries to downplay the mistreatment she suffered at the party. Sarge softly interrupts and calls her by name. He urges her to listen closely. He tells her she must never get used to unreasonable malice, no matter how small. He firmly advises her to tell him immediately if any further trouble arises. He promises to handle whatever comes up while she listens in quiet reflection. She sits quietly, contemplating her ongoing struggles. Amelia reflects on how she faced constant hostility since joining the academy, all orchestrated by her fiancé. She recalls how painful the continuous mistreatment felt. Amelia realizes life is not purely painful thanks to kind allies like Sarge and Julius. Just as her mother used to say, she is meeting truly considerate people. Sarge announces their arrival at the location and she thanks him warmly. Amelia gasps lightly in surprise at his polite gesture. She reaches out and thanks Sarge as he escorts her. A castle attendant respectfully greets Sarge upon his return. Sarge guides Amelia toward their destination inside the palace. Amelia marvels at the royal castle while Sarge states he wants to visit his elder brother Est. Amelia notes Prince Est is the second prince and Sarge's half-brother, while the attendant acknowledges them. Amelia wonders about their brotherhood when a prince calls out, amused to see Sarge accompanying a lady. Sarge greets his older brother warmly. Amelia recognizes Crown Prince Alexis standing before them. Alexis offers a polite greeting and Amelia respectfully introduces herself as Count Lenia's daughter. Alexis acknowledges her identity with a thoughtful look. Amelia observes that Crown Prince Alexis resembles Sarge. Alexis asks where the two are heading. Sarge explains they are going to see Brother S to restore Amelia's damaged papers. Amelia recalls that the Crown Prince specializes in offensive fire magic and top-class swordsmanship. As they present the damaged pages, Alexis examines the faded writing. Sarge points out that the text has become illegible, but Amelia remains confident that restoration magic will work. Alexis observes their conversation calmly. Julius suspects there is a secret plan behind this whole plan. Alexis eagerly watches to see how magic will restore the ruined document. Onlookers whisper in astonishment as three high-ranking royals walk through the corridor together. The surrounding students stare in utter shock at the sight. A student asks Prince Alexis and Prince Sarge where they are heading. Julius is greeted as he walks alongside his royal companions. Lady Amira calls out to Lord Julius as they pass by. Sarge explains they are going to restore the document and notices Amelia. Alexis admits he tag along purely out of curiosity. Julius decides to tag along as well, surprising the rest of the group. The group now features three royal figures walking side by side. Amelia panics as the guards decide to stop at the entrance boundary. Amelia shouts at the guards not to leave her as the only non-royal. She reminds them that commoners and lower nobles are forbidden past this point. Desperate, she insists she should get Lord Sarge's permission first. The guards briefly address each other as they watch the royals walk ahead. Amelia gasps as the group vanishes completely from sight. A heavy feeling of dismay settles over Amelia as she's left behind. Marie Adori comments on the surprisingly large group, while Amelia complains about being abandoned. A close-up reveals a handsome young man looking back thoughtfully. Watching the prince's head off, Marie gasps in surprise at the gathering. Nearby, a room is prepared with tea sets neatly laid out on a table. She notices the setup and mentions how delicious the refreshments look. Meanwhile, the royals gather around the ruined documents to assess the damage. Julius remarks on the large stack of ruined papers. Sarge explains that Amelia might be able to restore them. Amelia confirms she can and asks how the damage happened. Julius asks her how she plans to restore them. She explains that after drying them with wind magic, she will proceed. She adds that she intends to apply layered light magic for the process. Marie marvels at the technique in awe. Julius mentions he tested this magic with Sarge previously. Julius prepares to begin the restoration magic. Light glows around the circle as the spell activates on the damaged papers. Amelia watches wide-eyed as the magic restores the pages. The light fades, leaving the restored documents perfectly intact. Sarge finds the spell impressive and suggests it could recreate ancient texts. Amelia agrees and teasingly adds that it could even recreate childhood drawings of Julius. Julius reacts in complete shock at her suggestion. Sari wonders if restoring something that old is possible. Julius tries to object that it must be inconvenient. Sari explains that as long as the original exists, it works without relying on memory. They open the restored research papers to examine the contents. Amelia points out rainfall and crop growth data. Sarge questions why there are two distinct sets. Amelia notes her mother preserved them carefully. Sarge asks Amelia about a specific graph in the document. She explains it tracks whether earth magic was used on the soil. She points out another graph showing variations in sunlight exposure. Sarge stares in total awe at how remarkably thorough the records are. Julius watches Sarge's enthusiastic reaction with a knowing smile. Julius addresses Lady Amelia directly. He politely asks if he may make a request, provided it is no trouble. He asks if she would be willing to assist Sarge with his research. As the conversation continues, Julius expands on his request. He offers her a permit to freely enter the royal castle room anytime, leaving her stammering in disbelief as she tries to decline and insists she is unqualified. Sari steps in and personally begs her to accept. He explains that Sarji forgets to eat or sleep whenever he gets absorbed in magic or botany. Julius adds that everyone would feel much more at ease if she remained by Sarji's side. Amelia replies that it would be wonderful if Lenish's research records could truly help. She promises to do her absolute best if she can be of any assistance. Looking ahead with determination, she prepares to make another key point. Sarge asks Amelia if she knows about the monthly rainfall data. She points to the documents and confirms that they are right there. She adds that the temperature readings are recorded alongside them. Amelia reflects on how much she has always enjoyed gathering data. Organizing detailed information brings her a quiet sense of satisfaction. Sarge reviews the research papers spread out across the desk. He notes that her father never cared much for detailed numbers. Analyzing the figures, he realizes the past year was even colder than expected. Amelia explains that the northern location of Lenia causes harsh weather. Sarge links this cold climate directly to their reduced crop harvest. She admits her secretly kept records previously sat unused in storage. Sari mentions that general preparations are made, though specific crops remain vulnerable. Amelia sees this exact problem as the reason her data matters. She feels deeply happy that Sarge is putting her old research to good use. Amelia gazes warmly at Sarge while he remains focused on the papers. Crown Prince Alexis enters the room and pauses at the doorway. Alexis surprises the pair by asking if they have been working all day. He points out that night has already fallen outside. Sarge and Amelia look up in complete shock at the sudden realization. Sarge apologizes for losing track of time while absorbed in study. Alexis reassures them that Julius already notified the dorms on their behalf. He then moves on to explain the reason for his visit. Alexis invites both of them to join the family in the dining room for dinner. Amelia gasps in utter astonishment at being included in royal plans. Sarge casually suggests that he can eat later instead. Alexis gazes sternly toward Sarge while standing by the room doorway. Sarge turns his head away slightly in reluctant resignation. Alexis insists that skipping dinner is unacceptable, especially since Lady Amelia is visiting. Sarge gives in and agrees to accompany his brother to dinner. He stands up and gently escorts Amelia out of the study. Amelia panics internally at the terrifying prospect of dining inside the royal castle. She stammers nervously, trying to figure out how to respond politely. Alexis smiles warmly and assures her that she is treated as a very important guest. Realizing she cannot refuse, Amelia gracefully accepts the dinner invitation. She reflects on how unexpected it is for Sarge to join the meal as well. She considers the sudden turn of events as they head toward the royal dining hall. As she enters the room, she is surprised to find the entire royal family gathered at the dining table. Although the feast looks extraordinary, she finds herself far too nervous to eat a single bite. Crown Prince Alexis offers his sincere apologies for the overwhelming atmosphere, while Sophia warmly welcomes her, admitting she rushed over the moment she heard Sarge brought someone adorable. Amelia politely stammers her greetings to Princess Sophia, but Sophia warmly invites her to sit right by her side. Julius respectfully greets her as well. Sophia chuckles and tells Amelia to drop the formal titles and just call her Sophia. Sophia assures her that this is merely a relaxed family dinner with no need for tension. Amelia can only offer a small hesitant response as she takes her place. Alexis reflects grimly on Lady Amira's unforgivable conduct. He explains that despite her house's status making her a potential candidate for Julius, her actions were entirely unacceptable. Alexis points out that foreign movements are beginning to cause concern. He stresses that Julius must select a fiancé promptly to avoid further complications. Julius agrees, noting that their father expressed the exact same concern. Although Julius originally assumed he could wait until graduation, Sophia agrees that deciding during his academy days is far wiser. Amelia hesitates, feeling awkward amidst their private discussion. She timidly asks if it is truly appropriate for an outsider to overhear such state matters. Julius playfully asks if she is offering herself as his fiancé, leaving her startled. Sarge immediately shouts out a fierce refusal before the idea can even be considered. Amelia is left completely shocked by his explosive reaction. Sophia softly giggles and tries to smooth over the sudden outburst. Julius offers a brief apology for teasing her so abruptly. Seeing how tense Amelia remains, someone gently hands her a soothing cup of herbal tea. Sophia enthusiastically invites Amelia to stay overnight in her room so they can chat. Amelia can only wonder silently how her simple visit turned into such an unbelievable evening. She soon arrives inside a grand room filled with opulent decorations. She marvels that the entire space is completely filled with fresh flowers. Sophia smiles, revealing Alexis picks them for her every morning, leaving her thoroughly surprised. Sarge notes they turned a political marriage into deep trust. Amelia internally contrasts their bond with her relationship with Reze. Sophia gently hands Amelia a cup of herbal tea. She mentions it will help soothe her rough day. She promises it relieves fatigue. Sophia looks down thoughtfully as they share tea. Amelia expresses her heartfelt thanks to Sophia. Sophia agrees softly as Amelia reflects on how much has happened. Amelia recalls the dramatic confrontation involving Amira. Amelia admits she was deeply shocked by Amira's behavior. She adds it was not just the actions against her but how Amira coerced others. Amelia gazes down with a somber expression. Sophia listens quietly to Amelia's concern. Amelia hesitatingly asks about the fate of the other involved girls. Sophia explains they will certainly face consequences for their involvement. She suggests they will likely receive a suspension. Amelia listens closely as Sophia clarifies the situation. Amelia understands the gravity of the punishment. It will stain their records, though it avoids full expulsion. In the kingdom, magic use is unrestricted before enrollment. At the academy, magic is strictly regulated and only graduates retain the right to use it. Amelia ponders the severe social consequences of losing magic. Magic remains an exclusive privilege reserved for nobility. Expulsion results in magic being permanently sealed, ruining a noble's standing in society. As they linger in the room, the Whipson turn their attention toward recent royal developments. They listen closely as the conversation turns toward Prince Julius. Sophia points out how difficult it must be for him to lose fiancé candidates when foreign countries are stirring, while others add he must select a bride quickly. Curious, she asks why there is such an urgent rush. Sophia reflects on the unique nature and burden of light magic users in the kingdom. Sophia explains that as a rare light attribute user, the prince's power has created many complications over time. Turning her attention to Crown Prince Alexis, Sophia begins to share his story. She describes how Alexis possessed extraordinary magical power from a very young age. Even as a small child, his overwhelming magic would leak out completely beyond his control. Sophia emphasizes that such immense unbridled power is extremely dangerous, as strong emotions can cause it to run wild. A vivid memory depicts Alexis sitting alone in isolation to protect everyone around him. To avoid hurting others or destroying his surroundings, Alexis chose to isolate himself from everyone. Any intense feeling, whether sorrow, anger, or even pure joy, could inadvertently trigger dangerous magic outbursts. He spent his time completely alone, suppressing all his emotions to keep others safe. Sophia then reveals that Prince Est was also quite frail back then, and could not even attend the academy. Although Est has recovered enough to live normally, Sophia notes he still cannot overexert himself. Consequently, the third son Julius received countless marriage proposals from foreign nations. Amelia listens carefully while considering the geopolitical pressures surrounding the royal family. Amelia reasons that with 4 princes, marrying one off to another country seems logical enough. Sophia agrees but reveals that even the formidable Belts Empire sent an aggressive proposal that felt almost like an outright threat. Amelia repeats the name of the Belts Empire with a sense of foreboding. A narration details how the vast Belts Empire lies far beyond the kingdom of Vidald, boasting immense military power and territory that is only kept at bay by impassable mountain ranges. Without those natural mountain barriers, they likely would have conquered the entire continent long ago. Amelia shudders at the thought of such a terrifying military power. Sophia points out that since Amira has been eliminated as a candidate, the situation has become even more pressing. Seeing Amelia's alarm, Sophia reassures her that other viable candidates still remain. She firmly states that no matter the urgency, only a woman truly worthy will ever become a royal bride. Amelia hesitates for a moment before timidly inquiring about Prince Sarji's position. Sophia listens quietly as Amelia brings up Sarji's name. Sophia clarifies why foreign marriage offers target Julius rather than Sarji. She notes His Majesty has no intention of sending his sons abroad, confirming Sarj is the queen's and legitimate heir, while reassuring her that Sarji will remain. She adds that he has always held a deep passion for botany. Whenever he discovers a rare plant, he recklessly runs off on his own. She recounts an incident that took place about 10 years ago. Sarj went missing during an outing when he was still a small child. Although light magic allows for long-distance communication, he was too young to use it properly. His older brothers searched desperately using light magic and safely rescued the captured boy. The kidnapper targeted light magic users, rumored to be someone from the Belt's empire. All of the captured culprits ended up committing suicide before questioning. Amelia gasps at the horrifying nature of that past incident. Sophia apologizes for rambling on and keeping her up so late. Because the culprits died, the full truth was never revealed. She encourages Amelia to get a good night's rest. An elegant chandelier lights up the quiet royal chamber above. The spacious bedroom remains calm in the gentle night air. Amelia reflects on how Sarji still wanders around alone despite his dangerous history, completely understanding why his siblings worry about him so much. She gazes thoughtfully into the quiet room while lying in bed. She realizes why they always insist on assigning guards whenever Sarji meets her. Amelia considers that meeting Sarji frequently might help ease his family's concerns. The morning sun dawns brightly over the majestic castle landscape. A maid arrives to inform Amelia that Lady Sophia invites her to breakfast. Amelia accepts the invitation, admitting that she barely slept at all. At the table, Sophia points out that Sarj is absent. Amelia greets everyone warmly as she takes her seat. Julius greets her back cheerfully. Sophia explains that Sarji stayed up all night reviewing documents and is running late. She advises Amelia to eat and head back early so she will not be late for school. Amelia listens attentively as the morning meal proceeds quietly. Looking down at the table, she marvels at the lavish breakfast spread set before her. She brings her hand to her lips with a quiet smile. She expresses her genuine delight at how delicious the food tastes. Outside, the royal carriage wheels roll smoothly along the path. She reminds herself to head straight to school after stopping at the dorms. Amelia braces herself as she prepares to return to her hostile classroom environment. Her mind fills with tension at the thought of facing her classmates. The grand carriage arrives at the academy gates under a looming shadow. The sun shines down brightly on the majestic school building. Amelia admits she feels sluggish from sleep deprivation, but she can easily manage it. Back home, she often stayed up until morning studying magic or working on paperwork. A student apologizes, explaining that Sarji was reading documents all night and is running late today. Amelia chuckles to herself, thinking that she and Lord Sarj might actually share a similar trait. She believes Lord Sarji feels the same way about their shared work ethic. That connection explains why a provincial noble like her gets to stay by his side. She glances quietly toward the side with a soft expression. Amelia's gaze lingers thoughtfully in the hallway. Erica murmurs quietly as she watches her former friend. Amelia turns and walks away from Erica without looking back. Amelia reflects on how shocking the betrayal was because she truly considered them friends. Yet after being betrayed by her longtime fiancé, she finds it understandable. It is no wonder someone she just met would abandon her out of self-preservation. Even if they reconciled, Amelia knows Erica would abandon her again if another crisis arose. Erica gasps softly as Amelia realizes she simply does not want a friend like that. Amelia firmly resolves that she can never truly be friends with her again. Students gather together in the school corridor. Another student notices that Lady Amira and her group are absent, guessing they must be suspended. The quiet atmosphere hangs heavily over the hallway. Amelia finds it difficult to dwell on yesterday's incident. She feels deeply relieved that Lord Sarji stepped in to pull her away. Amelia stands quietly by herself, deep in thought. Amelia tells herself that as long as no one is hostile, that is enough. She figures it is best not to get involved with anyone else. Even so, she notes that the atmosphere feels free of the malice she endured before. Amelia looks up in surprise upon spotting Lord Sarji. She notices that he brought a guard along with him. Sarji offers a cheerful apology for being unable to see her off earlier that morning. The young prince continues chatting comfortably with her in the hallway. She flusteredly explains that her family warmly welcomes him to visit any time. Nearby students whisper in shock, reacting to rumors of her staying overnight at the royal castle. She wonders anxiously how she ought to handle all the sudden attention. A student reminds Sarji that class is starting, which Sarji calmly acknowledges. Sarj pauses to address Amelia before entering class. He adds that something in yesterday's materials caught his interest. Amelia looks back at Sarji thoughtfully as they speak. Amelia resolves to stay close to Sarji to ease Lord Julius's worries. Sarji asks if he may consult her later, to which she readily agrees. Students begin filing into the classroom and taking their seats. The teacher instructs everyone to take their seats. Amelia gasps lightly as her eyes hit the front board. She groans silently because staring at the board brings back bitter memories of yesterday. She recalls Julius's reenactment magic exposing Amira's mocking laughter and cruel malice. Every ugly detail of that moment was reproduced with perfect clarity. Amelia dreads going to the cafeteria for lunch, only for Julius to approach and ask for a moment of her time. She gasps in surprise upon seeing Lord Julius standing right before her. Amelia worries that being summoned by two princes in one day will start endless gossip. Julius smoothly urges her to follow him inside. He leads her into an extraordinarily lavish dining room. Amelia realizes in utter shock that they have entered the royal family's private dining hall. Julius explains that his younger brother locks himself in the library during lunch, frequently skipping meals altogether due to his intense focus. He warns that while passion for research is fine, neglecting basic health will ruin the young prince in the long run. Thus, he proposes that if the young woman agrees to eat with them, Sarjay will surely show up every day. He adds that Amelia represents the exact living embodiment of local data Sarjay has always wanted. Suddenly, someone notices a presence nearby. Speaking of the devil, Sarge arrives right on cue and calls out to Amelia in surprise. The group gathers around the table. Julius offers Sarjay a seat while Sarjay excitedly notes he gets to eat lunch with Amelia daily now. Julius confirms that their father gave permission. Sarjay takes his place at the table. Amelia watches Sarjay warmly. Sarjay smiles brightly back at her. Amelia reflects deeply on how incredible it feels to realize someone like her is truly needed. She considers that if she is wanted this much, even just as a friend, she feels honored. She resolves to support Lord Sarjay as much as she possibly can moving forward. The group finishes up their meal together. Julius comments on how hard the escort night works physically, requiring proper sustenance. Julius bids farewell to Kaido and Amelia until after class, while Sarjay promises to wait for her tomorrow. As they exchange pleasantries, Kaido politely asks if he may join in eating as well. Students disperse across the bustling classroom hall. Whispers circulate among onlookers wondering if Amelia is Julius's new fiancé or perhaps involved with Sarjay. Shadows cast over the murmuring crowd. Amelia notes the irony since she already has a fiancé named Reze, who actively seeks true love elsewhere. She reflects on how she was vilified as a villainess who blocked their love, causing others to hate her. Now she observes them trying to spark even more reckless gossip against her. Overwhelmed by the rumors, she rushes through the hallway, deeply distressed and seeking a place to escape. Erika checks on her friend, pointing out that afternoon classes are about to begin. Adori notices the young woman running by and gasps softly in surprise. Recognizing her, Edori asks if another valuable item was thrown into the fountain. Amelia quickly reassures her that she is all right. She explains that she simply needed to step out of the classroom. Adori warmly offers to listen if Amelia wants to talk. Adori mentions her free period and suggests renting a private room using soundproofing magic. Once alone together, Adori brings up the latest rumors circulating the academy. She reveals Amira's expulsion and the suspension of two accomplices, leaving Amelia stunned. Amelia admits she assumed all three were merely suspended, but Adori corrects her. Adori explains that the academy's disciplinary rules are far stricter than that. She lists Amira's offenses from abusing lower nobles to interfering with Prince Sarjay's research. Adori notes that Amira's actions are grave enough to warrant dissolving her entire house. She points out that expulsion ruins any noble's future engagement prospects and social standing. Adori emphasizes that consequences always catch up to those who act cruelly. Amelia listens attentively, taking in Adori's firm and reassuring words. She urges Amelia to keep her head high since she did nothing wrong. Amelia feels a sense of relief wash over her from the supportive advice. The atmosphere between them becomes warm and peaceful as they chat. Adori adds that aiding Prince Sarjay's research will greatly enhance Amelia's own reputation. Amelia modestly downplays her role, thanking her while noting she only provided materials. Adori smiles brightly, pleased to see her companion feeling much better. Changing the topic, Adori mentions the establishment of a new Special A class. Amelia expresses surprise, so Adori explains that self-study periods prepare students for it. She elaborates that word has spread about this new class for top talents opening next semester. She points out how it allows promising students to focus purely on magical research. Erika adds that the setup seems tailor-made for Prince Sarjay. Amelia enthusiastically declares as her ambition to join the special class. Adori encourages Amelia to aim for the elite class alongside them. Amelia reacts with surprise at the suggestion. Adori reminds her that top test scores make her eligible regardless of grade level. Erika and Adori explain that an entrance exam is coming up before term ends. Amelia ponders the challenge of entering special A class. Adori highlights how advanced magical training could benefit their domains. Amelia listens attentively as her friends discuss the advantages. She considers the prospect of conducting research free from social gossip besides Sarge. Amelia looks firmly determined to take on the exam. Her friends watch her express her newfound ambition with joy. Amelia passionately confirms her goal, thanking her friends for their guidance. She apologizes if her excitement seems overly forceful. Erika mentions that first years need a recommendation letter to apply. She suggests asking Prince Sar directly for an endorsement letter. Amelia heads off down the corridor toward the library. Adori reminds her that Sar studies in the library during self-study hours. Amelia bids her friends farewell as she sets off. Amelia reflects on the possibility of joining special A class. She envisions a fulfilling academy life studying alongside Sarge and Marie. Her heart swells with excitement as she walks through the hall. She steps briskly down the hallway with a hopeful stride. Passing other students, she stays focused on finding Sarjay. Amelia arrives near the library doors, eager for her conversation with the prince. Suddenly, Reze calls out to her to wait for him. She pauses in surprise as she turns around. She stares at her former fiancé with a startled expression. Amelia spots Reze standing nearby. She remembers meeting here before and assumes the woman beside him is his rumored lover. Disgusted, she turns away, wanting nothing to do with him. Reze suddenly calls out for her to wait. Amelia pauses as memories of Reze flash through her mind. She reflects on how much she has come to despise him. She doesn't blame him for loving someone else after 10 years of engagement. However, she wishes he had at least been honest with her. He stammers as he tries to speak to her. He apologizes hesitantly, but she sharply demands that he let her go. He stutters, struggling to find words. Reze recoils in pain as she forcefully breaks away. Prince Julius suddenly intervenes and calls out her name. Relieved, she greets both Lord Reze and Lord Julius. Julius steps forward while Reze offers his assistance. Reze tries to invite her into the library to talk properly. However, Julius interrupts to ask Amelia about yesterday's research report. Amelia agrees to answer, leaving Reze sidelined. Julius reminds Reze that as his fiancée, Amelia is assisting Sarge with national research. He firmly demands that she prioritize this vital research above everything else. Reze reluctantly accepts the prince's decree. As Reze hesitates, Amelia realizes he likely heard about Amira's situation and came to fix things. Amelia admits she was close to slapping Reze and thanks the princes for intervening. Julius replies that helping a friend is natural, then glances over at a silent Sarge. Sarge remains lost in thought as they walk away. Sarge turns his gaze toward Amelia and calls out her name. He asks her if she still wishes to remain engaged to Reze, and she firmly declares that she does not. She explains that her father strongly desires a soil magic user, making a breakup difficult. Sarge absorbs this information quietly as he considers the family situation. When questioned about his motives, he simply takes in the news without revealing his thoughts. He coolly brushes it off, claiming he has no special plan in mind. Sarge reflects silently as he gazes off with a serious expression. Calling Amelia by name, Sarge asks the specific area yielded a higher crop harvest. Amelia notes Reze's magic usage there, while Sarge ominously states that sinners will fall by their own doing. They review pest-damaged areas together until Sarge concludes their detailed evaluation of the reports. Observing Sarge's intense dedication to his research, Amelia senses a deep underlying purpose behind his focused demeanor. Her bitter feelings toward Reze fade away as she focuses purely on the agricultural data. She recalls her own love for pure research, longing to help Sarge free from social burdens. Roy interrupts their quiet study session to inform them that the building is closing soon. He notes that Julius called out to them earlier before heading out ahead. Although Roy mentions they responded, Amelia admits she was so absorbed in work that she doesn't recall it. Roy sighs to himself, realizing with dismay that Amelia is just as much of a workaholic as Sarge. Amelia looks back at Roy, slightly confused by his weary reaction. She wonders in confusion who Roy meant by that statement. Sarge ponders in silence beside Amelia while she watches him attentively. Apologizing for keeping her late, Sarge offers to walk Amelia back to her dormitory, which she gratefully accepts. Amelia asks if they can stop by her classroom first so she can pick up her left-behind belongings. The two walk together down the quiet grand hallway of the academy. Meanwhile, Reze mentions to Erica that he searched for her after school but couldn't find her anywhere. Erica explains she spent the afternoon studying with Lady Marie in preparation for the upcoming special class. Reze reacts with surprise to the news of the elite class, prompting Erica to ask if something happened. Erica clarifies that first years are eligible, wondering if Reze simply ignored the previous announcements. She suggests that Reze ask Prince Sarge for the necessary letter of recommendation. As Reze considers asking Sarge, Erica offers the alternative of asking her own father instead. Meanwhile, Julius speaks with Amelia as they prepare to meet. The prince mentions that his brother wanted to see her as well. She suddenly realizes that his father is the king himself. She looks shocked at the sudden revelation. She gasps in disbelief at the thought of the king. Julius leads Amelia forward without hesitation. They move together down the grand hallway. Julius suggests learning more about the Special A class. Sarge confirms that he had already returned ahead. He ponders their destination at the royal castle. Amelia stands in the royal castle hallway. It is her second day staying at the royal castle. Julius tells her to wait in the room while he runs an errand. Amelia decides to stay positive about learning more. Julius apologizes for keeping her waiting so late. Amelia apologizes for losing track of time herself. Sarge heads back first while Julius notes how alike Amelia and Sarge are. Amelia listens intently to Julius's work. She reflects warmly on being compared to Sarge. Amelia explains that Marie told her about the Special A class. The towering Royal Institute building looms ahead. Julius explains that the class prepares elite graduates for the institute. Amelia feels overwhelmed by how official and important it is. Julius surprises her by revealing he planned to recommend her anyway. Amelia reacts with surprise to Julius's statement. Julius notes the class was designed specifically for Sarge. He encourages her to pass the exam so she can assist Sarge. Julius points out her deep understanding of magical theory. He urges her to have more confidence in her abilities. She listens attentively as he continues to speak about his younger brother. Others attempted to assist him before, but none could match his quick intellect. As a result, the young prince became completely absorbed in solitary research. Severe crop damage from the cold snap placed enormous expectations on Sarge's work. He stopped explaining himself to focus entirely on results, working alone until no one could stop him from overexerting his health. Everything changed when Amelia stepped into his life. Julius apologizes for placing such a heavy burden onto her shoulders. He explains that her presence has already become indispensable to Sarge. He earnestly begs her to support his younger brother. Amelia realizes how much her arrival meant to them. Julius bows deeply, emphasizing that this favor comes from his entire royal family. Amelia gasps at Lord Julius bowing to someone like her. She tells him that as royalty, a simple command would have been more than enough. She notes how deeply he must truly care for his younger brother. Amelia vows to do her absolute best from now on to help Sarge. Julius looks up with relief at her earnest answer. The royal couple reacts with delighted surprise to her warm dedication. They express immense gratitude and ask her to take good care of Sarge. Sophia mentions that Sarge seems to like Amelia quite a lot too. Amelia nervously confirms it. She blushes, timidly considering that Sarge might feel some friendly affection toward her. Amelia reflects deeply on how unique Sarge's behavior is toward her. Sarge was always popular with noble girls due to his striking looks. However, he only cared about magic and botany, giving no real attention to admirers. Eventually, everyone realized they could never be special to him. Yet Sarge snapped when Reze grabbed Amelia's arm outside the library. His anger in that moment was clear to everyone present. He stepped in specifically to protect her from her ex-fiancé. He wanted to make Reze pay for hurting her feelings. Amelia reflects on how many times Sarge has already come to her aid. Amelia remembers key moments when Sarge supported her. She recalls when she lacked the courage to enter the grand party alone. Sarge, who deserved protection more than anyone, escorted her safely. He even used his own body as a shield when hot tea almost splashed her. She realizes how deeply he truly cares for her well-being. She ponders his curious behavior and all these recent actions. She reflects on their past hallway encounters with a thoughtful look. She also recalls how Reze kept staring at her while pushing to end their engagement. She wonders why the girl accompanying Reze never spoke a single word. Sarge interrupts her thoughts as he arrives and apologizes for being late. Sarge listens quietly as they discuss the upcoming academy placement opportunities. Amelia realizes the significance of qualifying for the Special A class. Sarge reassures her that she will pass the required entrance test easily. Julius clarifies that Sarge does not need to sit for the exam himself. Julius promises to handle the required letter of recommendation for her entrance. A maid announces to Prince Julius that dinner is ready for everyone. Sarge informs Amelia that Lady Sophia has requested her company for dinner. Amelia's eyes light up when she considers visiting the royal library. Sarge mentions the library's vast collection of rare books available inside. Sarge gladly offers to guide Amelia to the library later that night. He leads Amelia through the grand towering archives of the royal castle. Amelia excitedly asks to read, but he urges her to remain quiet. Sarge admits that something about his brother's recommendation has been bothering him. He explains his concern regarding Julius pushing her into the Special A class. He glares curiously as he recalls his brother's involvement in the decision. Amelia reassures Sarge that helping him has been genuinely rewarding for her. She emphasizes how much she appreciates their real discussions on magic theory. Sarge confesses that he has never met anyone else he could speak to so openly. He offers Amelia a sincere apology for dragging her into his personal schedule. Amelia gazes back at Sarge, deeply moved by his heartfelt apology. She politely brushes off his concern, but he insists that he should apologize for relying on her so much. He worries about being exhausting to be around and hesitates to force such a burden onto her. She reassures him that Julius never forced her, having simply bowed respectfully to request her help. Even so, Sarge points out that she was still placed in a position where refusing was nearly impossible. Sarge quietly hands an official document over to her. He presents a recommendation from his father, hoping it allows her to pursue her desired field of research. He gently offers the paper, eager to support her future endeavors. Amelia reflects on how Sarge constantly blames himself whenever assistants tire out. Because of that guilt, he gave up explaining his work and chose to isolate himself. She looks at him tenderly, moved by his deep consideration. Amelia reveals that she has always genuinely loved gathering and compiling research materials. She explains how she documented agricultural data for years, even though it went completely unused. Her records had only sat forgotten in storage. Being able to assist him now brings her immense happiness. She resolves to convey her true feelings to this gentle prince. Amelia begs him not to misunderstand her motivations. She genuinely enjoys discussing magic theory alongside him. Though she still has much to learn, she wants to enter Special A class to grow. She assures him from the bottom of her heart that no one is forcing her. She truly wants to become someone who can be even more helpful to him. Sarge listens in stunned silence, deeply affected by her earnest devotion. Amelia apologetically chooses to use Lord Julius's letter over the king's recommendation. Sarge accepts her choice without hesitation. He pauses, shifting the subject to ease her mind. Sarge apologizes for taking up her time and invites her to read nearby magic theory books. Amelia enthusiastically accepts his offer. Amelia marvels at the endless stack of rare, out-of-print books. Overwhelmed with excitement, she struggles to decide where to begin reading. Amelia notices a massive pile of research documents thudding onto the table. She turns around, wide-eyed at the sudden arrival of material. Sarge carries the heavy stack of papers over to her study area. Amelia smiles brightly, sitting down eagerly to begin reviewing the documents. She picks up her quill and focuses intently on her writing. She carefully writes out detailed research notes onto the clean parchment. Amelia looks down silently, lost deep in her quiet thoughts. Meanwhile, Prince Sarge lowers his gaze with a solemn expression. Together in the vast study, both remain focused on their respective work. Morning light breaks through the arched windows of the Grand Royal Archives. Amelia turns around in shock as dawn arrives unexpectedly. Sarge remains seated nearby, quietly immersed in his reading. Amelia gazes in disbelief at how much time has slipped away. Julius walks into the room, surprised to find both of them still awake. Julius realizes they stayed up all night studying in the library. Sarge offers to escort Amelia, but insists on staying to read even more. Amelia stands quietly as she listens to Sarge's gentle explanation. Sarge turns his gaze toward her with a calm, reassuring smile. Amelia looks back at him, touched by his quiet dedication. They agree to stop studying once Amelia reaches a good stopping point. Sarge admits he never expected her to stay up all night reading. Julius scolds them sternly for pulling 2 all-nighters in a row. He warns that ruining their health will render any academic achievement meaningless. Julius orders them to rest and promises to submit their recommendation letters. He instructs them to report to the academy later that afternoon. Sarge and Amelia stand together, quietly listening to Julius's instructions. Julius clutches his head in exasperation as his worries double over the pair. The castle exterior stands tall under the bright afternoon sun. Amelia asks nervously if Sarge is feeling all right after his lack of sleep. Sarge groans softly, explaining that getting only partial rest actually makes him feel worse. Amelia cheerfully assures Sarge that she is sturdy and full of energy from her countryside childhood. She urges him to leave everything to her without worry. Roy watches them from nearby, looking increasingly concerned. Amelia turns to Sarge with an energetic, confident expression. The majestic academy building rises under the clear sky. Julius explains that exam candidates may self-study, but Sarge declines and chooses to attend classes. Julius encourages Amelia, reminding her that she is the only first-year taking this exam. Amelia walks down the hallway, deep in thought about her upcoming challenge. Amelia reflects on her advanced studies before entering the academy. She resolves that her true goal is not just passing the exam but reaching Sarge's level. Stepping into the courtyard, she gazes back up at the grand academy building. Looking toward the high windows, she remains lost in thought. To reach that standard, she determines to broaden her knowledge even further. Noticing that afternoon classes are over, Amelia realizes how late it has gotten. Wanting to read a specialized book, she decides to head to the library. As she walks along the hallway, a student watches her from afar. The short-haired student turns away slightly as Amelia glances over. Surprised, Amelia pauses in her tracks. She wonders who the girl is after instinctively greeting her back upon making eye contact. Amelia reflects that this might be the first regular student to greet her since entering the academy. She hopes she can regain a normal school life, but the girl hesitatingly speaks up. The petite girl stands nervously in front of Amelia with her hands clasped. Amelia observes her quiet and anxious posture carefully. A memory flashes of the girl standing together with Reze. Amelia stares at her as the girl steps closer with a solemn expression. Recognizing her as Reze's lover, Amelia realizes she is Carria, the Viscount's daughter. Amelia feels her heart race in surprise as she looks at Carria. Amelia tells Carria to calm down and asks if she can help her with something. Clasping her hands, Carria begs Amelia to set Reze free. Amelia takes a step back in shock at the sudden plea. When Amelia questions what she means, Carria admits she understands if Amelia cannot forgive them and offers to atone. With tears in her eyes, Carria begs Amelia to stop hurting Reze. Amelia gasps in complete confusion. Wondering what is happening, Amelia notes the desperate look in the girl's eyes. Amelia recalls seeing her with Reze twice before and senses she mustered all her courage to speak. Believing Carria knows something, Amelia wonders if she is not Reze's accomplice but just someone who believed the rumors. Deciding to confirm her identity first, Amelia asks the trembling girl who she actually is. As tension mounts in the busy corridor, the trembling girl speaks up. She introduces herself as Sayer Carria, shouting that Amelia must already know about her relationship with Reze. Amelia stands in utter confusion at her outburst. Carria plays the victim while surrounding students whisper accusations against Amelia. Carria claims Reze tried to write letters and apologized to Amelia continuously. Amelia realizes she must speak up immediately, having never heard directly from Reze. Carria calls Amelia a liar and asks why she ran away from Reze. Flashbacks show Amelia's side of the story as she tries to recall past events. Amelia explains that she repeatedly sent letters to meet and speak properly. She points out that Reze was the one running away and avoiding her completely. Amelia's anger builds as she prepares to state her true feelings. Amelia snaps and firmly shouts that she has had enough and wants to break off the engagement. Reze appears suddenly to interrupt the confrontation. Reze steps in to shield Carria, claiming Carria is innocent. Carria acts remorseful while Amelia watches their performance in frustration. Reze accuses Amelia of only holding on to the engagement for his family's earth magic. The crowd gasps at the bitter exchange. Carria loudly scolds Amelia not to treat Reze like property that can be bought. Onlookers turn further against Amelia, interpreting her silence as guilt. Carria gives a subtle smug smirk behind Reze's back as Amelia stands alone. Reze and Sarah stand closely together, looking like a devoted couple. Whispers swirl that Reze's earth magic was bought with pure wealth. The malicious rumors question if a loving pair was torn apart by money from the start. Amelia stands stunned as she wonders if this was calculated all along. Sarah clings closely to Reze while watching Amelia from afar. Amelia clenched her fists tightly in anger and frustration. Amelia reflects on her father's obsession with earth magic. She admits he paid a fortune to securing her engagement with Reze. Even if that is true, her resolve does not waver. Amelia looks back coldly at the crowd gathering in the corridor. Scholars whisper among themselves about how all their carefully spread rumors will go to waste. Amelia catches a glimpse of the students plotting nearby. Sarah gasps in shock as someone questions the leverage used to secure funding. Amelia turns away resolutely from the scheming onlookers. Amelia watches from the doorway with a pained look on her face. She witnesses Reze and Sarah sitting intimately together inside the room. Amelia watches Reze and Sarah, surprised to see them clinging together. She looks closely at Sarah's smug expression behind Reze's back. Confused onlookers notice duplicate figures of Reze and Sarah appearing in the room. The schemers panic because their smear campaign was working perfectly before Amelia enrolled. They wonder why things are falling apart now. They cannot understand why the princes are taking Amelia's side. The young woman then claims she does not need a formal marriage as long as she can stay by Reze's side. She suggests acting as his wife while leaving all domain responsibilities to Amelia. Amelia considers her family's wealth while sensing an unusual light nearby. Amelia notices the magic differs from Prince Julius's as onlookers groan and protest in disbelief. Sarah and Reze plot to push Amelia further because her family desperately needs earth magic. Reze viciously vows to make Amelia beg for their help. Amelia glares with intense fury at their cruel scheme. Amelia previously thought Reze only changed after meeting Sarah. She had believed Sarah incited him to spread malicious rumors and trap her. She questions if Reze hated the engagement all along, recalling Sarah reached out first. Sarah tells Reze she will follow after watching how things unfold. Reze agrees as Sarah gleefully notes that having more witnesses works in their favor. Sarah maliciously wonders what kind of humiliating face Amelia will make. Amelia realizes the mysterious magic light suddenly vanished. A sudden burst of anger flashes across the scene. Chaos erupts as someone stumbles backward violently. Sarah tumbles to the ground in surprise. Sarah cries out in pain and calls the situation total nonsense. Bystanders laugh as Sarah pathetically begs for someone to save her. Sarah continues pleading for help before directly accusing Amelia of attacking her. Amelia firmly denies the accusation, insisting she could never do such a thing. Sarah screams liar and accuses Amelia of framing them to get them expelled. Sarah angrily condemns Amelia's actions as completely cowardly. Roy suddenly steps in, grabbing Reze by the collar and pulling him back. Amelia recognizes Prince Sarji's attendant and immediately realizes the weight of his presence. Sarji then steps forward to directly accuse Sarah of framing Amelia instead. Amelia looks up in complete surprise as she hears Sarji speak. Sarj reaches out a hand to Amelia and gently apologizes for making her sad. Sarji holds Amelia close, comforting her amidst a peaceful atmosphere. Sarji stares ahead with a resolute and serious expression. Amelia looks on in stunned shock as the truth unfolds. An announcement confirms the projection was not magic but a real past event at the academy. It was a true recorded conversation that occurred within the school grounds. Sarji stands firmly beside Amelia as the crowd watches the projection. Sarji sternly asks if anyone still needs more evidence. The surrounding students gasp in total disbelief at what they are seeing. In the projection, Reze is asked about his plans for the upcoming freshman party. He dismisses Amelia casually, making his bad intentions clear. His friends listen closely to his scheming. Amelia recognizes the letter while Reze refuses to buy her address. He boasts about spreading terrible rumors about her throughout the academy. Reze laughs that she will be miserable and isolated with no friends. Other students agree that his behavior is truly awful. Reze directly professes his love to Sarah, ignoring Amelia completely. He admits he prefers taking Sarah to the party but fears Amelia catching them. They plot to provoke Amelia into causing a scene to get her expelled. Sarah agrees eagerly with his cruel scheme. Reze adds that he wants her magic stripped away as well. He openly declares his intent to marry Amelia just to inherit her father's title. After taking everything, he plans to bring Sarah along openly. Sarah agrees happily, claiming she only cares about being with Reze. The projection fades out, leaving the truth exposed to everyone present. Sarj turns to apologize to Amelia for the painful truth revealed. Sarah tries to excuse Sarj, but Amelia quietly speaks up. Amelia reflects on the stark reality of the situation. She admits she is actually glad to finally hear Reze's true feelings. Amelia realizes Reze was never the person she had believed him to be. Her affectionate feelings faded slowly with each betrayal over time. Though the past had meaning, her feelings had already completely dissolved. She reflects that she only held on because she had never heard the truth directly from Reze. Now that she has heard his true intentions, she can finally leave that painful past behind. Turning to Sarjay, she calls out his name, prompting the prince to firmly condemn the duo for spreading baseless rumors and trying to steal her house. Sarjay declares that Amelia will not be the one getting expelled from the academy. Sarah gasps in utter horror as the reality of their impending expulsion sets in. Sarah gasps upon hearing they will be banned from using magic entirely. Prince Sarjay adds that Reze will become worthless to Amelia's family without his earth magic. Reze stands frozen in shock as his entire future crumbles before him. An onlooker shouts in astonishment about Special Class A. Prince Sarji points out that Amelia is exceptionally capable and even assists him in his personal research. Bystanders realize she could become a renowned magical researcher given her high qualifications. He adds that she is practically guaranteed to enter Special Class A anyway. Prince Sarjay glares down at Reze for daring to frame someone as gifted as Amelia. He coldly reminds Reze and Sarah that their severe crimes will not go unpunished. Reze grits his teeth in bitter frustration as he recalls his past interactions with Amelia. Amelia looks back with clear, determined eyes during a quiet past moment. Reze remembers acknowledging her exceptional talent and striking gaze. He sees inwardly with growing resentment over her innate magic potential. A memory shows Amelia sitting quietly in the library studying. Reze had convinced himself that Amelia did not need to study magic since he was the one inheriting the house. He believed she should focus solely on patrolling farmlands and collecting crop data. Amelia stands beside Prince Sarja facing down Reze and Sarah. Prince Sarja asks if Reze was merely jealous of her natural talents. Amelia realizes that his constant invitations to the fields were intended to keep her away from magic. Amelia sees through his plot to sabotage her studies. Prince Sarji points out that Reze tried to maintain control over her by constantly belittling her worth. Prince Sarji addresses Reze directly with a cold stare. A student points out that Reze has already fallen to Class C and lost all advantage. He has nowhere lower to drop. Reze clicks his tongue in defeat. Roy dashes down the hallway in a panic, calling out for Prince Sarji. Amid the commotion, Amelia gasps in shock while Reze grits his teeth in rage. He screams in anger as guards forcefully drag him away from the scene. He tumbles to the ground after being cast out by the guards. The surrounding onlookers whisper and murmur among themselves as they watch him. Reze protests in disbelief, questioning why this is happening to him. He insists that they were simply awakened to true love. The guards restrain him tightly and force him out of the hallway. Amelia watches him leave with a solemn expression on her face. She turns away, left alone in thought after the scene ends. Sarji calls out Amelia's name gently to pull her out of her thoughts. Sarja approaches Amelia with a concerned look on his face. He asks her softly if she is doing all right after everything. Amelia lets out a soft sigh as she processes her lingering emotions. Amelia offers her heartfelt thanks to Sarja as tears well up in her eyes. She stammers slightly before addressing him respectfully by his title. Looking at him with deep emotion, she acknowledges his support. Sarja reassures Amelia that Reze is finally gone for good. He smiles warmly and tells her that from this day forward things will change. He promises her that a normal academy life can finally begin. Amelia stretches out her arms as she arrives back in her room. She flops face down onto her soft bed in exhaustion. She buries her face into the comfy pillows. She lies flat, completely drained from the recent ordeal. Amelia desperately wants to collapse into bed and sleep. She apologizes mentally to her mother for her disgraceful behavior. She reflects on how exhausting everything has been lately. It has been 2 whole days since she could relax alone. She feels relieved that no one is around to judge her. She closes her eyes and rests peacefully. She reflects on how much has happened recently. Though she endured much hardship, she realizes it was not all bad. She remembers the people who supported her along the way. Amelia muses that if she had simply married Reze, she might have lived a decent life managing the domain. However, without these trials, she could not have continued studying magic. She would never have grown close to Sarja, nor would she have met Julius and Marie. Memories of Sarja and her friends bring her comfort. She recalls Reze's cold, resentful expression during their final confrontation. Still, she realizes she could never have been happy with Reze when he hated her enough to ruin her. She knows their relationship was bound to fall apart eventually. Now everything between her and Reze is completely over. She will never have to see her fiancé of 10 years again. Amelia resolves to put him out of her mind for good. She apologizes briefly in her thoughts while wondering about his upcoming punishment. Strangely, she does not feel lonely at all. She knows he brought this outcome entirely upon himself. Reze is officially no longer a part of her life. Sarja encourages her, promising that her normal academy life finally begins today. Amelia startles as she remembers Sarji's warm words. She sits up on her bed, deep in thought. Her cheeks flush pink as she touches her own face. She recalls the sensation of Sarj touching her face gently. She blushes deeply, feeling as though the warmth of his fingers is still lingering on her skin. She reflects softly while looking up into the air. She remembers dancing with Sarja the very first time they met and how he held her when she hurt her foot. Back then, his royal status completely overwhelmed her, making the memory embarrassingly intense now. Even so, she still considers it a truly precious memory. She curls up in bed, blushing as she buries her face in her hands. She rolls over on her mattress, unable to hide her flustered smile. She realizes that even as Sarja's research assistant from now on, they will likely never touch like that again. She stretches her hand toward the ceiling, lost in thought. Her gaze drifts thoughtfully toward the window. A subtle sadness washes over her expression. The next day, Amelia explains that she sent a letter to her father. Erica asks if she officially broke off the engagement with Reze. Amelia confirms she explained everything that happened to him. Erica notes that her father likely wouldn't want her engaged to someone without a magic license. Amelia quietly hopes that turns out to be true. She lowers her eyes, admitting that she was far too careless. Because Reze felt like family, she never imagined he would betray her. She realizes now how naive she really was. She acknowledges that her foolishness could have ruined her entire future. She decides she needs to toughen up. Erica listens attentively while Amelia collects her thoughts. Amelia declares there is no point regretting what is already over. She vows to focus on her next steps and Erica agrees. Even so, she admits that finding a new fiancé might prove difficult. Amelia wonders if her father will truly give up his plan. She questions why he insists so strongly on his own child inheriting. Erica points out that if she doesn't inherit, her younger cousin Soru will take over. She adds that male earth mages are far more common than female ones. Her father likely finds it easier to secure a match for Amelia than to find an earth mage woman for Soru. Amelia finally understands his logic. Even if she takes a husband, she feels he would only marry her out of pity for being a disgraced daughter. She firmly rejects the idea of living her life like that. To survive on her own, she needs a proper job. If Soru becomes the heir instead, she will leave home to live independently. Because of that resolve, she promises herself to study harder than ever. Determined, Marie declares that she absolutely must pass into the special class. Amelia realizes that getting into that class will open her path to becoming a magical researcher. She hopes to keep assisting Lord Sarge in his research while Marie listens quietly. Kaido asks Lord Julius to stay calm before delivering shocking news. He reveals that Reze has eloped with Syrah. Amelia gasps in utter disbelief at the sudden revelation. Reze vanished together with Sarah on the exact day of his expulsion. They left a signed note in Reze's dorm declaring their love will overcome any hardship. Julius looks grim as he ponders the fallout of their calculated departure. Amelia worries people will blame her for breaking up two lovers and forcing Reze out. She fears the nasty rumors will ruin her reputation regardless of the truth. Turning to Lord Julius, she worries about what they should do next. Julius fumes at Reze's utter lack of self-reflection after being backed into a corner. He realizes Reze deliberately chose to sabotage Amelia's image out of pure spite. His anger mounts as he curses Reze's final vengeful scheme. By eloping with Sarah, Reze completely ruined Amelia and dragged her down to the end. She reflects that she had hoped Reze would revert to his former kind self. Her friend reassures her that since Sarge intervened, things will turn out all right. Meanwhile, another companion gently reminds Amelia that public gossip never lasts for very long. Marie encourages her to ignore the rumors and focus on studying hard for her future. A student politely thanks Lady Marie as news spreads about recent events at school. Reze was expelled while missing, though Sarah escaped initial punishment due to no investigation. Sarah's family planned abduction charges, so Reze's father arranged an engagement to avoid scandal. The Korea family accepted the proposal and dropped all charges despite Reze remaining missing. Amelia wonders sarcastically if society will celebrate their elopement as true love blossoming. Her friends congratulate Amelia warmly on finally breaking off her troublesome engagement with Reze. After reading her letter, Amelia's father formally protested to the Sarma family to annul it. He demanded compensation for infidelity to explicitly prove that Amelia was not at fault. The group notes that the Sarma family is now struggling with debt and public disgrace. Amelia listens attentively as her friends discuss her family's recent financial arrangements. The Sarma family agreed to compensate them since full blame lay with their disgraced son. She regrets failing to notice Reze's trap earlier and ruining her father's long-standing friendship. Amelia reveals that her father is already frantically searching for a new fiancé for her. She acknowledges how strange it feels after such a long engagement was abruptly cancelled. Amelia plans to focus on entering Special Class A so her father gives up searching. Her friend agrees as rare earth magic users will make finding a match very difficult. The girls chat comfortably together as they continue walking down the academy corridor. Erica then asks if she is eating lunch. Noting Julius mentioned, she disappears into the library with Sarge. Amelia stammers an apology as her friend warns that Julius worries their duo might be dangerous. Erica sighs, adding that everyone would feel better if she just ate proper meals. They continue their conversation, calling out Julius's name. Sari mentions that Julius will likely get engaged to Marie. Sarge looks off thoughtfully as he discusses his brother's upcoming arrangement. Erica gleefully agrees, stating Marie's family possesses the necessary wealth and political power for a royal match. Sarge listens quietly to Erica's enthusiasm. Erica praises Marie's kindness, while Sarge notes that helping Amelia despite rumors sealed the deal. Sarge gazes ahead softly while reflecting on the situation. A hand reaches toward a bookshelf in the quiet room. Books sit stacked together on the wooden shelves. Sarge asks Amelia if her engagement was successfully annulled. Amelia confirms her engagement with Reze is officially over, thinking back to his gentle touch. Sarge stands close behind her as they talk. She adds that her father has not given up on seeking a new fiancé. Amelia explains her father only cares that the suitor can use earth magic. She admits that her father's desperate search frightens her slightly. Sarja wonders why Count Lenia demands earth magic, while Erica notes the family head need not wield it directly. Amelia reveals the obsession stems from an incident involving her great-grandfather. Sarja proposes that they simply need to elevate the perceived value of water magic instead. She blinks in surprise at his suggestion. She listens closely as he proposes turning the family head's inability to use water magic into a political advantage. Meanwhile, open reference books and written notes lie scattered across their desk. Sarge presents his research thesis, explaining that it relies on the detailed data Amelia provided. Amelia stands beside Sarge as they review the research materials together. Sarge explains that green grain resists cold but suffers from insect damage, which water magic could potentially solve. Amelia listens intently, questioning if water magic could really protect the crops from pests. They analyze how preventing crop damage could dramatically boost harvest yields back to original levels. Sarge points out that perfecting this spell would redefine water magic beyond simple healing. He admits that water magic falls outside his personal field of expertise. Because of that, Sarge directly asks Amelia to lend him her assistance. Sarge acknowledges her recent hardships and gently reassures her. He adds that she can work on it at her own pace between exam studies. Seeing Amelia cover her face in emotional shock, Sarge calls out her name. Amelia reflects on how water magic was always seen as only fit for healing and gardening. She looks toward the light with a newfound sense of hope. She used to mourn that her water magic could never yield a rich harvest like earth magic. Now she wonders if her magic can truly become vital to her family territory. Amelia notes that developing an entirely new magic spell is no easy task. She declares her complete faith in Sarge's ability to succeed, leaving him pleasantly surprised. Overjoyed, Amelia eagerly accepts his request and states that helping Sarge is a complete honor. With a gentle look, she offers to assist in any way possible. Flowers drift quietly around her as she expresses her dedication. Erica asks Amelia if she is pushing herself too hard working on Sarge's research. Amelia listens quietly as her friends express concern over her grueling daily routine. Erica worries Amelia will fail to keep up without taking even a single day off. Amelia claims she has plenty of stamina, though Erica warns she might collapse someday. Julius notes that Sarge took a break first, allowing Amelia to rest without hesitation. Marie mentions that she will need to consult Lord Julius regarding their upcoming plans. Marie has officially become engaged to Lord Julius as their arrangements progress smoothly. They prepare to head to the royal castle to choose their official dress designs. Amelia explains that Lady Sophia personally insisted on her attendance, leaving her unable to refuse. The girls discuss the engagement party, noting Sarge will definitely attend if Amelia goes. Amelia reflects on the new dress currently being prepared specifically for her upcoming appearance. The view shifts to the magnificent exterior of the royal castle grounds. Amelia admits she feels nervous visiting the castle on her own this time. Amelia arrives inside the opulent palace hallways, looking around in quiet anticipation. Lady Sophia welcomes Amelia warmly, insisting formal greetings are unnecessary between future sisters-in-law. Sophia smiles brightly as she guides the group into her private dressing room. The attendees gather to look over various luxurious fabric samples and sketches. Sophia enthusiastically urges everyone to pick their dress design since time is short. Sophia coordinates colors based on hair and eyes, assigning bright green to Amelia. Amelia reacts with sudden surprise and confusion at Sophia's vibrant color choices. Amelia hesitates over bright green and gold, recognizing them as Sarge's and Reese's colors. Amelia voices her concern about misunderstandings, but Sophia reassuringly dismisses her worries. She adds that having her nearby could actually be a major help to Sarge. The group continues discussing their concerns while keeping a watchful eye on the palace. Their discussion then shifts toward security as threats loom over the gathering. Sophia warns that visiting foreign envoys could bring infiltrators from the Belt's empire. They agree that assigning Amelia to keep Sarge grounded is their most effective strategy. Sophia playfully suggests that pretending to be engaged would be the easiest cover. The sudden cover story idea catches everyone completely off guard. Amelia reacts in utter shock at the bold proposal while Sophia giggles amusedly. Amelia struggles to process the unbelievable plan laid out before her. Sophia apologizes for asking so much of Amelia, who warmly offers all her help. Amelia wonders nervously if Sarge would dislike her playing the part of his fiancé. Sophia smiles gently, fully confident that Sar will not mind the arrangement at all. Sophia cheerfully reassures Amelia that there is absolutely nothing to worry about. Marie speaks up to grab Amelia's attention after the discussion concludes. She informs Amelia that Sarge wants her in the lab right away. Marie explains that they conduct water magic research alongside Sarge in the castle garden. Erica notes how constantly Amelia stays by Sarge's side throughout their daily duties. She inwardly admits that sticking close to Amelia gives her courage, hoping it stays fine. Marie dismisses any minor concerns with a gentle, reassuring gesture. She offers a cheerful word of encouragement to Amelia before taking her leave. Sarge approaches quietly as Amelia turns around to greet him. Sarge calls out to Amelia, asking if she has finished her dress fitting. Amelia confirms that Sophia took complete care of preparing her gown. Sarge acknowledges her answer while Amelia notices a complex new magic circle nearby. Sarge softly admits he wished he could gift her the dress personally, though it is too soon. Amelia reacts with complete surprise at his gentle confession. Later, she looks down in shock at a letter held in her hands. She reveals that the message comes directly from her father. Her parents plan to attend the engagement announcement party in the royal capital. She realizes that her cousin Soru will be accompanying them as well. Amelia paces thoughtfully across the room, considering her options. She sits down at her desk to draft a reply letter. Her father offers to send an escort since her engagement was broken. Amelia knows naming Sarge would cause chaos. She decides to write that an upperclassman will escort her. Technically, pretending to be his fiancé with royal approval is true. Still, the weight of the responsibility presses heavily on her. Amelia approaches Sarge and hands him her research papers to review. Sarge notices the remarkably detailed changes recorded in the documents. He examines the past data presented before him with deep curiosity. Sarge admits he never would have noticed without her years of data. Amelia confirms it includes results from royal garden experiments. He marvels at how fields watered with magic suffer far less damage. She worked hard to find practical applications for water magic. Amelia sought ways for water magic to aid her family's domain. She routinely used wide-area watering spells on local crops. Those old records prove unexpectedly useful now. Sarge asks if she personally developed the spell. Amelia modestly downplays her role as Sarge inquires about the incantations used. They stand together over the desk, analyzing the magic formulas. Amelia listens intently as Sarge formulates a new plan. She shares the 3 key ancient magic words she relied upon. Sarge proposes adding a protective effect against harmful insect pests. Such an enchantment would shield crops and help them withstand harsh weather. Sarge ponders the complexity of combining so many spell elements together. He points out that additional components demand immense magic power. He weighs repellent keywords against the risk of poisoning crops. The spell must remain safe for food and accessible to ordinary mages. He considers incorporating an antidote aspect into the overall design. Sarge decides to draft a new magic circle for an immediate trial. Amelia expresses her deep gratitude for his dedication and leadership. Sarge reminds her that water magic falls outside his main expertise. He trusts her to take the lead on fine-tuning the spell details. Amelia apologizes because she must visit Lady Sophia tomorrow to prepare her styling. Sarge relies heavily on her skills for the project. He understands and tells her she does not need to visit tomorrow. The preparations will take time, so he urges her to focus on them. She nods gratefully, though a sudden thought gives her pause. She leaves the room while Sarge watches her depart thoughtfully. The sun sets over the academy as a new day approaches. Meanwhile, Marie urges her mother-in-law not to touch the tailoring without permission. She startles as the queen turns around and shifts her attention. The queen offers Amelia a warm and gentle smile. She greets Amelia warmly and thanks her for always supporting Sarge. Amelia expresses her immense honor while admiring the queen's hair and eyes. Noticing the similarity to Sarge, she answers when asked how they met. They sit together at a tea table inside the opulent royal hall. She recalls meeting Sarge at the welcome party when she was in trouble. The queen asks if Amelia is helping with Sarge's research as well. She remarks on Sarge's kindness while expressing concern about his overworking. Amelia mentions how she tries her best to rein Sarge. The queen listens thoughtfully to Amelia's reply. She observes that Sarge and Amelia truly seem similar to one another. The queen then turns her focus toward hearing Marie's side of the story. Marie collapses into her seat, looking utterly exhausted. Marie expresses her happiness at having Amelia by her side. Amelia watches as Marie rests her head on the table. Marie takes her leave to greet Lord Julius before heading back. Amelia reflects on being present despite being told it was unnecessary. She walks into the spacious greenhouse filled with lush plants. She contemplates whether growth acceleration magic would be enough. She stops in her tracks as she spots someone inside. Sarge stands looking out the window while talking with Amelia. Amelia gasps in sudden surprise at what she sees. Mina asks whether growth acceleration alone will suffice. Sarge clarifies that combining it with water magic boosts earth magic effectiveness. Amelia gasps in surprise. Amelia stands wide-eyed, overwhelmed by a sudden wave of painful realization. She turns away silently and pauses at the door. Amelia realizes the girl is an earth magic user. She remembers Sarge telling her not to come today. Seeing another woman beside Sarge leaves her feeling deeply upset. Amelia admits to herself how much she hates seeing another woman near Sarge. She longed to be the only one supporting his research. She struggles with what to do. Amelia despairs, feeling she has no right to have such selfish feelings. Sachet calls out her name, startling her. He walks over through the hallway while she looks back at him. Sarge apologizes for his mother barging in on her earlier. Amelia insists the queen was very kind to her. Sarge asks if she is done over there. Mina steps forward, happy for the chance to be introduced. Sarge notices a shift in Amelia's expression and looks over at her with concern. He reaches out toward her as she suddenly turns to leave the room. Sarge asks if something happened, but Amelia insists she is fine. Amelia claims she is just tired from nerves and excuses herself to leave. Sarge reaches out and calls after her to wait. Sarge quickly introduces Mina as Kaido's younger sister. She looks on in complete surprise as the sudden realization hits her. Amelia repeats the relation in surprise. Mina cheerfully confirms it and introduces herself. The young girl happily expresses her delight at finally meeting Amelia, thanking her for looking after her brother. Amelia politely replies that it is her pleasure, adding that assisting Kaido is simply part of his duties. Mina is Count Eded's second daughter, a year younger than her, and plans to enter the academy next year. The conversation highlights that Kaido strictly guards Sarge within the academy and is never seen at the royal castle. Amelia wonders to herself why Kaido's younger sister happens to be accompanying Prince Sarge. Sarge explains that although the Eded territory is near the capital, Mina prefers nature and hopes to settle somewhere quiet. Sarge points out that Mina possesses earth magic, marveling at how such an ideal match was right beside them all along. Amelia mentally questions if Mina is truly considered an ideal woman. Sarge asks Amelia what she thinks of pairing Mina up as a fiancé for her cousin. Amelia pauses in shock, taken aback by his sudden suggestion. Sarge recalls Amelia mentioning her cousin Soru's talents, which makes Amelia clarify if he really means him. Sarge reminds her that Soru is serious, kind, and next in line to inherit the Lenia title if Amelia remains unmarried. Sarge explains that since perfecting the water spell takes time, he searched for a suitable bride to protect her cousin from unwanted matches. Amelia asks if Soru has anyone in mind, but Sarge confirms that neither Soru nor he had a specific candidate set until now. Mina beams with delight, agreeing that the proposed arrangement sounds truly ideal. Mina expresses her deep gratitude to Amelia, telling her what an absolute honor it is to receive her approval. She vows to work tirelessly under Prince Sarge's guidance to refine her earth magic even further. Amelia looks on silently, observing Mina's bright enthusiasm. Sarge reassures them that compatibility is key and insists they meet first. He notes Soru's only flaw is his shyness. He remains confident they will get along wonderfully given Mina's cheerful attitude. Sarge firmly vows that he will personally complete the new water magic research. He declares that once the spell is widely used, nobody will ever be disappointed even if Soru's future child inherits water magic. Amelia resolves inwardly with intense determination that she will never allow such an outcome to happen. A soft light glows warmly over her daily routine. Before the engagement party, she prepares for the Special A class exam, studying with Marie in the mornings and conducting magic experiments with Sarge in the afternoons. She also squeezes in dress fittings while keeping up with her demanding schedule. Exhausted by her packed routine, Amelia collapses to her knees and groans. A maid arrives to inform her that her outfit is ready and she thanks her. She reflects on how often she now stays overnight at the royal castle. Her assigned guest room has practically become her personal bedroom. Amelia gapes when Sarge reveals he redrew the intricate magic circle overnight. She cannot believe he accomplished such a complex task in a single night. She looks at Sarge in quiet awe as he presents the diagram. She observes that the circle is too complex to be used casually. Even so, she enthusiastically declares that it is worth trying immediately. A weary Sarge mentions that the spell will require immense magical power. Amelia gently scolds him for staying up all night again. Without Kaido nearby, the two get completely absorbed in their research. Lady Sophia and the others worry, so Amelia knows she must keep track of time. Still, part of her wants to complete the water magic as soon as possible. Yet another part of her feels differently. Deep down, she truly wishes this precious time together could go on forever. Julius stands before Amelia and Marie to announce their exam results. Julius congratulates both of them, announcing that they have been accepted into the special class. Marie expresses her gratitude while the official notes that only 10 applicants passed. Onlookers murmur about the 50 applicants who took the exam, and the official highlights that Amelia passed at the top of the list by a huge margin. Julius adds that Marie achieved an excellent score as well. He explains that starting next week, both girls will attend the newly established Magic Research Institute. The two girls walk out into the hallway together after receiving their acceptance. Marie thanks the instructor as they depart. Amelia listens closely, her face lighting up with excitement. She beams with joy, thrilled that she can continue her magic research right alongside Sarge. Marie proudly states that she can now hold her head up high and stand beside Julius. She stresses that this isn't due to family wealth or appearance, which leaves Amelia deeply admiring her resolve. Amelia gazes at Marie with a wide, shocked expression. The Grand Academy building looms proudly in the background. The tailors showcase the newly completed dresses for the upcoming event. They explain that Marie's dress was prioritized as the main star, but Amelia's turned out equally gorgeous. Amelia stammers nervously, feeling unworthy of wearing such a magnificent gown, but the tailors reassure her. Marie insists that Amelia completely deserves it since she will be standing by Sarge's side. An attendant agrees that the preparations are going smoothly. Amelia quietly worries about the contrast between Reze eloping with his love and her broken engagement. She knows that looking miserable in public is not an option when standing with Sarge. Still, she feels anxious about the rumors that might surround them. She voices her concern that people might gossip and distort the truth about her situation. Marie gently reassures her with a warm smile, telling her that everything will be fine. She considers what spectators at the upcoming event will truly focus on. She reflects on how common broken engagements are among nobility compared to Sarge's crucial research. She also notes that people will observe her own brilliance as his assistant. The Grand Royal Castle stands prominently under the open sky. On the day before the engagement party, Grand stammers in nervous anticipation inside the castle. Sarge tries to calm him down, but Grand exclaims that remaining calm in the royal castle is impossible. Grand turns to his daughter and asks why she seems so surprisingly comfortable. Amelia admits she has no idea why her parents were summoned, guessing it might be party preparation. Sarge politely apologizes for requiring them to make the long journey. The group gathers together in the elegant audience chamber of the castle. Amelia and her mother explain how cold damage severely affected Lenia's agricultural income in past years. Grand and Sarge discuss how switching crops successfully secured food and even allowed for exports. Amelia's mother credits Sarge's crop variety, and he praises Lenia territory for leading the successful initiative. Sarge expresses his genuine gratitude for their dedicated efforts. Grand beams with pride, stating it is a true honor to receive such high praise. Sarge mentions plans to refine the Greek crop even further, delighting Grand. Sarge pauses thoughtfully before continuing his conversation with Grand. He reveals that Amelia shared recent agricultural records from Lenia territory with him. Grand looks startled by the sudden mention of agricultural records. Sarge praises the outstanding records, attributing them to Grand's guidance, while Grand flusteredly agrees. Turning to her with a gentle, sincere expression, he continues. He adds that she has helped him countless times with her sharp memory and unmatched precision with records. He declares that she has become an irreplaceable presence in his life. He openly expresses his wish for her to remain by his side. Amelia listens in quiet surprise as Sarge admits his true feelings. Sarge pauses briefly, looking off to the side with a thoughtful expression. He sighs softly as he prepares to address the obstacle standing in their way. Amelia's family and companions watch on, listening attentively to his address. He points out that Amelia is ultimately the sole heir to the Lenia house. Sarge assures everyone that there is no problem, leaving Amelia surprised. He explains that his younger brother has 2 children and plans to adopt the boy as his heir. Amelia confirms that this concerns her cousin. Someone asks if he already has a fiancé. Sarge explains that his guard knight's sister is around the same age. He notes she enters the academy next year. He adds that they plan to have it decided soon. The group listens attentively. He highlights that she is an earth magic user from the Edid family. He mentions that she is currently training under him. Sarge addresses Amelia directly. He asks what she thinks of Mina as a match for her cousin, since Mita wants to use her agricultural talents. Amelia considers Lord Sarge's arrangement. She believes it is as good as settled and agrees they would make a great match. Julius listens quietly to the ongoing discussion. Julius inquires about the new water magic research. Sarge confirms it, acknowledging that it will take time. He explains it could save the country by overcoming pest damage on Greek crops. Since water magic isn't his expertise, Sarge relies heavily on Amelia's help. The room falls into deep thought. They ponder the potential impact of water magic on the populace. Sarge stands resolutely. Amelia vows to support His Highness's strength. The grand castle exterior stands in the sunlight. Amelia's father calls out to her gently. Amelia looks back with an emotional expression. Her parents stand side by side listening. Amelia's father comforts her, wishing her happiness and assuring her she did nothing wrong. Amelia apologizes for causing so much worry about Reze. Her mother kindly expresses relief that Amelia's days are fulfilling and happy. She stands quietly, listening to the intense discussion unfolding around her. Her father looks deeply troubled as he faces her. He admits his past obsession with earth magic led him to neglect her happiness, then apologizes and mentions bringing a new escort for tomorrow's party. Amelia looks on in total shock at his sudden turnaround. Her father warmly praises Prince Sarge as a truly remarkable man. Amelia's gaze softens as she remembers her cousin Soru stand beside Sarge. Soru hesitantly speaks up in front of the prince. He expresses his genuine pride in being able to support Sarge with his research. Meanwhile, Julius notes that tomorrow is finally the grand engagement announcement party. He explains that while foreign envoys have arrived, most guests are domestic nobles. A guard warns that the massive crowd will make spotters difficult, ordering everyone to stay alert. A shadowy cloaked figure watches silently from afar. The grand royal estate rests quietly under the evening sky. Inside her room, Amelia sinks back onto her bed with a sigh. She lets out a deep sigh, still unable to believe her father's words. She glances up, reflecting on how much has changed recently. She covers her blushing face with both hands in overwhelming emotion. A warm light fills her thoughts as she considers Sarge's kindness. Amelia feels overcome with joy that Sarge called her essential to him. He managed to shift her father's stubborn mind and arrange a match for her cousin. Overwhelmed by how much he did, she cries tears of happiness. She recalls Sarge explaining that developing water magic would take time, and he preferred her fiancé wasn't chosen before then. She wonders what his words truly implied. Amelia curls up slightly, her heart fluttering with mixed feelings. She walks over to the window and gazes out into the night. She reminds herself that their arrangement is strictly for the sake of the new water magic research. She knows it benefits the people, yet a lingering longing remains in her heart. Gazing out the window, she repeats to herself that attending as Sarge's partner is purely an act. Yet despite knowing it is all for show, a small hope stirs inside her. Looking up at the night sky, she quietly wonders if he might ask her to dance. Blushing softly, she holds her face as sweet thoughts fill her heart. Sarge asks Amelia if she is feeling all right as she stammers a confession about her nerves, so he gently reassures her. He reminds her that she only needs to stay by his side during the gathering. Sarge affirms that her presence is all he truly requires, and Amelia softly agrees. Together, they make their grand entrance into the magnificent, crowded ballroom hall. Onlookers whisper in awe as they recognize the Countess of Lenia walking beside the prince. The guests marvel at her top exam scores and her crucial assistance with Prince Sarge's research. Everyone in attendance remains completely spellbound by the pair's striking presence. The surrounding guests continue to whisper about Amelia's exceptional talents and brilliance. Other noble attendees chat idly amongst themselves about recent tea party gossip. Sarge and Amelia stand together before the crowd, looking like a perfectly matched couple. Sarge then extends a gentle, formal hand invitation to Amelia. Across the floor, Lord Julius and Marie Elegant dance together under the glittering lights. Spectators admire how stunning Lady Marie looks on the dance floor. Amelia watches the dancing couple attentively as Sarge stands close beside her. Sarge asks Amelia if she will dance with him right after his brother finishes. Addressing her warmly, she accepts his offer with eager enthusiasm. Amelia looks back with wide eyes, overcome by memories of their past encounters. She happily agreed to his invitation to dance together at the event. She reflects on how she once stood uncertainly before the mirror preparing for the welcome party. Amelia recalls throwing on an old dress and a panic back during the freshman welcome party, unaware there was even going to be a celebration. She realizes this will be her second time dancing with Prince Sarge since that day. She remembers how her old dress had matched the exact color of her former fiancé Reze's eyes. She also remembers how Sarge was the only one who stepped in to offer her help back then. Dancing right in the center of the hall back then feels like a sharp contrast to where she stands today. Today she wears a vivid green dress paired with a gleaming yellow sapphire jewel. Sarge stands close to Amelia, wrapping her in a gentle embrace. These shades represent Sarge's iconic colors, and Amelia finds them strikingly beautiful. Amelia looks back fondly on the memory, her cheeks flushed with emotion. She expresses heartfelt gratitude for everything Sarge has done for her. Amelia admits that dancing has always been something she deeply enjoys. During the welcome party, she was simply delighted to dance freely without worries. She twirls across the floor in a joyous, radiant memory of that night. Amelia suddenly notices just how remarkably close Sarge's face is to hers. However, today feels completely different from past dances. She finds herself unable to dance properly because nervousness takes over. She stammers as the sensation of his hand on her back makes her intensely aware of him. Flustered, she gasps when her footing stumbles. She instantly realizes she messed up her step. She gasps in shock as her eyes widen at the mistake. She quickly apologizes for her clumsy mistake. Sarge reassures her softly not to worry about it. He adds with a gentle smile that she is adorable even when nervous. Meanwhile, the grand engagement party for Julius and Marie gets underway. Roy warns Sarge that Belt's Empire infiltrators could still target him during the event. Although he stresses the need for constant vigilance, Marie cheerfully realizes her worries were completely unfounded. Marie grins happily as she sees everything is completely fine. Amelia hands Lord Sarge additional regional agricultural reports. Sarge acknowledges her effort and agrees to review them later. They dive into a dense technical conversation about temperature trends, new grain varieties, and pest prevention spell incantations, utterly baffling the surrounding party guests who overhear them. Meanwhile, Amelia spots her cousin Soru across the hall. Soru turns around and greets Amelia warmly. Soru stands near Mina as they observe the party together. The surrounding nobles watch the young pair with interest. Soru and Mina share a sweet, quiet moment in the middle of the ballroom. Amelia apologizes to Soru for pushing him into arrangements, teasingly asking if he has fallen for Mina, which catches him off guard. Amelia watches her cousin interact with Mina from afar. Soru gazes at Mina with a gentle, fond look. Soru pauses for a moment as he considers her question. Soru softly admits that he fell in love today, bringing a delight smile to Amelia's face. Someone tells Soru that he should return home to Lenia. Amelia notices her hair ribbon coming undone during the event. Soru points out her hair, but Amelia insists on fixing it alone in the waiting room despite his warning that walking unescorted is dangerous. Soru stands alone in the hallway, watching Amelia walk away. The quiet, dimly lit corridor stretches out ahead. Amelia walks down the long, empty hall by herself. She glances back down the quiet corridor. Amelia remembers Soru and Mina standing together happily. She mutters to herself that she should have just brought Soru along anyway. Amelia giggles softly as she remembers her cousin's smitten face. Walking alone, she steps onto the brightly lit balcony in the palace night. Looking around, she notices another young woman standing nearby in the quiet air. She turns with a puzzled expression as the stranger reacts in sudden surprise. The noblewoman gasps, realizing she dropped her precious ring somewhere nearby. Amelia kindly steps closer to ask if something is wrong. The woman distressingly explains that it belonged to her mother. She laments how deeply meaningful it is to her. Seeing her distress, Amelia sighs in sympathetic concern. The distressed woman apologizes for burdening someone else with her search. She apologizes again for involving a complete stranger in her missing item search. She offers to check the nearby area herself and expresses her gratitude. Amelia reassures her that it is perfectly fine. She understands how important a lost family heirloom must be. Amelia knows she ought to return to Lord Sarge soon, but she refuses to leave someone in need. The woman glances over and asks if something is wrong. Amelia calls out to nearby guards, but the woman quickly dismisses them. She insists that the palace security should not be neglected over a quick search. She requests that they return to their posts while she looks briefly on her own. The guards march off down the moonlit terrace after hearing her instructions. A figure watches in silence from the shadows as the guards depart. The guard agrees to return to duty, warning her to call immediately if trouble arises. She thanks him politely as they leave. A mysterious hooded guard looms ominously right behind Amelia on the balcony. A gloved hand reaches silently toward her from behind. The hooded soldier steps up and asks if she dropped a ring. Amelia turns around in relief as the soldier presents a small ring. He kneels down respectfully to offer the object in his hand. Amelia gasps in joy, recognizing the item immediately and thanking him warmly. She reaches out to pick up the ring from his open palm. Suddenly, the hooded figure violently grabs Amelia from behind and restrains her. Amelia muffledly gasps as a hand is clamped tightly over her mouth. She desperately tries to cry out for help, but her shouts are completely stifled. Terror overwhelms her as she realizes she is being abducted in silence. Elsewhere, a masked woman suddenly approaches and calls out to Sarge. She quickly hushes him and demands absolute silence, but he startles as he recognizes her familiar voice. She keeps her face covered while watching him closely. Meanwhile, a hooded figure gasps in disbelief upon recognizing Reze.